So the 1L and I,
there it's running.
last night went and
May 7th,
Oh,
2015.
Good.
What does L mean?
There we go.
There are three years in law school.
Okay.
And yeah, just 1L, 2L, 3L. So it was good though. I stayed at his house for some of the time.
I'm thinking, if you're the 1L, how can you do that be? Is it like if you didn't study, you can have your
I don't know, because they have all different sections and different teachers. But true, you could learn because, like, the 2L, his best friend, his first year class, and he's like a genius. And so he has helped them organize. Oh, of course, my husband, I'm not trying to brag or anything, my husband graduated first in his class from in law. And so he's tried to help them along, but it's not the same because they think your parents are stupid. You know?
That's not the way it is now. The Constitution is so much different than when you were a kid.
So anyway, yeah, so you're right in some ways, Beverly. In some ways, you know, you can listen to them and grab on to their notes and that sort of thing, their outlines.
I think she was thinking the one who takes the other's test.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be an ethical problem.
They would never do that. They did it in high school, but they would never do that.
Okay.
They
Capital
would
P
never-
is capital
I think
P.
their plates are so
The at
full,
symbol.
Yeah.
they wouldn't even be able to do that for one another. You know.
Did you know I was going to ask you if
Number one.
that was close
No
or...
spaces, just the
That's if they're black.
Oh, I didn't read that part. I just looked at county
They
roads.
turned down 55.
It's very interesting. The one that I stayed with last night, he cleans the house. He's always cleaning the house. He takes care of the other one.
Oh, he was
It's
probably
weird.
bringing up the.
You said that's for the other side.
Oh, is there?
I know. The 1L, every time I said, your house is always so clean. He said, I'm tired of it. Well, when they lived in Nashville, he would call me upset because he would work all day long. Go to school, work all day long, come home, and clean the house because the 2L does not clean the house.
Do you know all the sets of twins? They're polar opposites.
Yeah, so they are, and it works. They're best friends, but that's probably why.
It's like when the egg splits.
Yeah. It's one of you gets one half of something, the other one gets the other half of something. It really is that way.
Because fraternal twins are not always polar opposites. Like, you know.
It's really strange though because they are best friends, but they're so different. My cousins.
Okay, so would we like? I guess we could plug in.
Yeah, wait, where's our projector? Do we have that going?
We have a projector. I'm wondering if we either pull up Google Docs on that, or we can put the projector into my computer for right now, and I can pull it up. And
That'd be great.
Let's do that.
That'd be great.
Okay, because that will at least show us, we can start talking, and then, because a lot of it is conversation before Eric ever makes it
I like
work.
that.
Right.
We have a lot of.
That's what I was leading to yesterday when I thought
He
on
just grabbed
the
his
docking
lunch.
process we should be
He
following your
just
thinking
grabbed his
process.
lunch. Oh, he's already got that.
So I got it, so
Okay, good. So just make it the mixed, sorted by grade and standards.
Is it because of the?
I think he's already, I think he's actually already up and open to it. It's open. It's just that set of no post-it notes underneath the end of there.
Well, there was a tornado.
Tornado went through us.
Oh, it did,
Where?
yeah.
Okay.
Oklahoma City. I saw it.
I had kids that moved to Oklahoma from my school, you know, and literally the week they moved down there, they were just south of Norman when that big tornado. And I just like immediately flipped out. I'm like trying to cut out all the phone numbers we have, and could get no response from them. And finally, the dad emailed me back and said, hey, we actually weren't quite there yet. We were at Grandma's house,
That's good.
but the housing unit that we were going to is like nearly destroyed. That's perfect.
That's terrible.
Those kids go all over everywhere.
I have some big red.
She has everything. Yesterday she had your screwdriver.
She came in for me this morning because I dumped coffee on myself. And Beverly, Beverly too. Now she has gum. You're like a walking something. I don't know what.
Convenience store.
Yeah, walking convenience.
That is a good Elizabeth.
You're welcome. Anyone else? You think with all the moms and teachers,
Yeah.
and more teachers in the room, we'd all be like,
I just wondered if you have an avocado.
Go ahead, all ladies.
Mixed certified grade used to.
These are copper wire.
Okay, so we're on LS4D.
Okay. And I have South Carolina pulled up and we're ready.
Okay.
Life science 4D, LS 4D.
And I just kind of think I would share your thing with you.
We'll be losing it.
Well, that's what got us for
Okay, so much.
I didn't have weight in it.
Little elementary. My husband thinks it's
I saw
crazy.
Is that the last one we have on this?
Here's LS 4D.
No.
It's little people.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, so the next gen, do we have our documents all pulled up?
Yes,
Okay.
No.
So next gen says for LS4D, populations live in a variety of habitats and change in those habitats affect the organisms living there. And then it says the performance standard says make a claim about the merit of a solution to a problem caused when the environment changes and the types of plants and animals that live there may change. So I was wrong, Bob, we're on 3rd grade.
3rd grade, okay.
Okay, so we have in Missouri,
Oh, wait, this is LS 4D though. Oh, I see. Okay, 4, okay, sorry.
We're on 3rd grade next gen, but some of the stuff we've been pulling from is in 4th grade in our groups. So we're in 3rd and 4th grade.
Okay.
I'm not blurring anybody else.
it's blurry to me, but.
Thank God.
I don't think that's something I would work all the time.
Well, the middle's not blurred, but the left side is a little bit.
okay, so we have it at 4th grade, next gen has it at 3rd grade.
Yeah, so see, Perry, here's our dilemma. We keep saying, well, we have it in 4th and they have it in 3rd. For continuity of a unit, do we keep pushing it down to 3rd and then take something else out of 3rd grade?
I think we can do that.
Well, here's the deal, we keep, yeah, we will be taking something out of 3rd later, because 4th's focus is earth science.
So we give it,
I would say most of
science.
most of the earth science is shifted up if we need to.
Exactly. So like, I think in the long run, it's all gonna balance
Earth
out.
science went to 2nd grade.
Some of it did, but some of it
Some of
is
it
to
did, I
fourth.
think.
Right.
I mean,
Which one of those are we
the
on?
last one when we switched, when they moved things around, 3rd grade lost a lot of our earth science, things like rock science.
4th, 3rd grade?
It's a big.
There's nothing in
You got
4th
pushed
grade.
out of 2nd grade, down to 2nd grade.
Okay.
They don't,
The problem I'm having is, I have to look at your paper, because every time Ann says something, a few seconds later I forgot what Ann said.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. It's no problem. I just need to look at
Maybe you read
the.
It's the page 27 of 103 in this document.
Okay, that's where she said.
So you know what? Was it?
Page 27.
Oh,
We're on the
okay.
disciplinary
That's
for
right. Yeah,
ideas,
LS4.
right?
And we're in the DCI, which are in the middle, very bottom.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the question is,
LS 4D, biodiversity and goods.
right, there's 2 questions. The first question is, do we want to move it from 4th to 3rd?
If everybody says that's okay, I think that's okay.
Okay.
What do you think, Perry?
I think there's no problem at all.
I think it really would be great.
Then
They used to test the
we're
half-
going to assume, until Eric gets here, that those 3 things are in 3rd grade right now.
Okay.
Okay? Then, the question is, what we have to decide is how we want to merge what the DCI says, which we went through a whole long process yesterday, and these DCIs are not NGSS, they are actually from the framework. And remember those grade stand paragraphs that we were reading to
Yes.
determine where we were putting our standards?
Okay.
That's where they got these.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
So the DCIs are actually framework. The part that's in GSS are the
Is the
performance
top.
standards that are at the top.
Which is the thing that we are finding as a group, we don't necessarily care.
We've been using
They're
some from
worded
other.
weird, or
They're
they're
worded-
worded where they're difficult to understand.
They're
Okay.
difficult to understand.
Or they're-
The content of it.
Right.
The content of what it's asking,
Yeah.
Is fine
It's
once
fine.
you
Oh, I
unpack
see.
it.
But it's worded in such a way where
That if a
elementary
teacher
school
is
teacher
quickly
who doesn't
trying
have
to-
a science background might have a difficult time
or a
Unpacking.
parent,
Yeah.
you know, that
Okay.
is
trying to help.
Okay.
So what we found
overly wordy.
is that we are rewording some of it, and we're stealing wording, borrowing wording from South Carolina, California, or Massachusetts.
We're just trying to
Well,
come up
I
with something
understand,
that
right.
that
To
makes
say
it
the
easier
same
to
thing in a more
understand.
clear way.
Right,
Okay.
And with less words, if at all possible.
right,
Sure.
Our goal is to make it tight.
right.
My
So,
specialty.
when we look at those, at what we have up there,
That's from the kindergarten, early childhood, isn't it?
Which
Well,
one?
Why does it say K? For fourth grade.
Oh, I see. Oh.
I think it was a cross-reference.
Okay.
Yeah, in kindergarten,
Yeah, we just tried to align it.
they talked in kindergarten about human activity on organisms. We thought was
Harry and I did that, I was trying to.
we haven't
remember
gone
why
there
we
yet
did
though,
that.
because that's our science.
Over there.
Well, and then we did the NGSS cross-reference.
Right, but notice those are earth science, so we haven't delved into those yet.
Okay.
So we may find, it's gonna come up again when we go to the earth science strand to do of this.
Should I type something in there, or is that off of?
Will it type on that? See, I thought he had to,
He did, he has it locked for his Mac, right? He locked it and put it in his Mac.
Well, what we really want you to do is copy the 3 cells in fourth and
Yeah.
paste the third.
Oh, I see. All three of these?
Yeah.
I want to just rename this.
No, well, I guess you could do that, but then you have to insert fourth. So it's half done and another.
Excuse me.
No, he's locked, he has it on his Mac.
Okay.
Okay.
so that nobody on there can.
Okay, so the DCI,
So we can't do anything without Eric.
Well, just make notes.
Hey, I can
I
make
tell you what we
notes.
can do.
Beverly, are you taking notes
You
today?
can
Oh,
save
yeah,
it as something else on your computer. You just save it as something else on that computer and then do it.
Just say this.
Uh-huh. Yep, you can, save that document as something else and then you
Yes.
can open it right on
Lock.
I don't see a way to get the whole
it.
document.
Go to file, there should be a file option on the menu. At the top.
you have to download it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work.
No, I don't see how to do it.
Yeah, just right on.
I got it.
You got it?
I'll put my name, Harry Douglas, that, whatever, and I'll use an picture
That's hilarious. Your alter ego.
Nice graph paper.
I got Post-its.
Here's some
Oh,
notes.
you want it?
Oh, those are.
I'm gonna make a note for Eric.
Look, yeah, I got
made
it.
Post-its.
Yeah,
Oh my, I was gonna make a note of what needed to be changed for Eric.
Half
And
page
Ann's got it.
Okay.
This is my stuff. Shouldn't we just be able to?
Okay.
Identify the major root organisms. You pulled that out of third grade? I don't understand why it's, we're in life science, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's in there, but yeah.
Did you guys pull something off of it yesterday?
Probably.
No.
Because there is something on it, online, there is something on it.
What do you mean?
Really?
On the one that's in the little box right now.
On
Yeah.
LS 4D, we moved it?
For third grade?
Are you saying
What
it's not the
document
way
are
it's-
you looking at, Mary?
Life science, I just brought it up,
And
it's
you're in
sorted
LS
by,
4D?
well, I can't be for sure.
Look at the.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
Look at
What
the
does it
blue
say,
row.
the title? Let's say the title.
You want to go?
It's not sorted by grade level, that's not the one.
No, I don't think it's, there's nothing else.
Sorted by grade level is no longer the most accurate document.
Right, it's not an accurate document.
It's just like dropping it as it goes.
Okay. Okay, so here's the question, folks. Do we want, so how am I gonna mark these so he knows?
I can make a note.
Well, and
Well,
I'm making.
oh, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna highlight the grade level box. I'm gonna fill it with a weird color.
Do it.
And that way he'll know that we made changes in that row.
And
so
then
he
she'll
can
cross-reference
fix
it here with notes.
Okay. Okay, so we got that. Now, do we wanna plug the projector into?
Yes,
Okay.
My
Yes.
my thingy-mabobber?
yes, because when you speak, I would like to know where your mind is. I would like to follow you.
You know, I don't think you're the only person who's got that in there.
I want to see what's in there.
Talk to her husband.
No, not that one. You talked to my husband?
I said, we're talking to her
That's the only
husband.
one.
No, you know, you did pull it out of the computer.
Take out the
Yeah. Oh, okay, oh, I see.
Is your daughter enjoying her, she's a lawyer, right? She's an attorney, is she enjoying it?
Actually, she's not practicing now, she's working in the Division of Aging.
Does she like it?
She loves that.
Yeah.
But she is hoping to get on the public defender's office in
Oh,
St.
wow.
Francis
Well,
County.
won't that pay back her college
For
fund?
this reason, she's working for the Division of
Yeah,
Aging
yeah,
right
yeah.
now. And not practicing.
Yeah.
But the Division of Aging
All right,
actually
so
loves having her.
plug
Yeah.
No, leave the projector there.
Okay, oh, I
I
see.
just
Oh,
need
all
to
right.
My 1-year-old son is going to Nashville working for HUD, for the government, because one of his former Mizzou grads, who they hooked him up with, works in DC for HUD, and he hooked him up in Nashville. So he's going to be intern here this summer, next summer. And I think to send
No
him
idea.
over.
It's ready to come back.
I hope so.
No, it's this one.
And Angela is blessed. She
I gotta
has a
undo
huge
mine.
scholarship for study.
Oh,
Because he's
that's
taking
great.
these years.
It's, you know, if they don't get to run, you know, and there's shipping expenses
I
and.
know.
I did the sign-in sheet in a minute, because I spelled everyone's first and last names for memory, so we'll have.
Wow,
That I
that's
actually did.
good.
I'm pretty impressed.
What are you doing?
She
I'm
knows
taking
everyone's
notes
first and last
of
name.
Jan
Ah,
today.
you're
Oh,
Jan.
I
that's
can't be
right.
Bob today because he's here, so I'm
It's a good
Jan.
thing Bob's
And I'm
here.
glad you said that because I would fully forgot.
She was me yesterday.
Just one time and I didn't do very good.
Well, I can do it if you don't want
Oh,
to.
I got
You did a
it.
good job.
Say, would you
Here's the-
rather?
When I had to.
Eric's not on here, but he will.
I put Eric, I put 10 a.m. I was
All my first
assuming
school
her
name.
age.
We should be projecting. Are we on?
I have my first school of different colors.
Oh, yeah.
I think you have the
My
10th.
goal
I
is to
posted
buy
this, and I didn't do that before summer.
glorious,
I love chick glasses.
Okay.
ones because, man, it's more at the restaurant.
So, like, yeah.
So my goal is to always have the blue.
Oh,
yes.
So that he has to.
Yes. Yes.
That's cold hearted.
Oh, but you know my husband,
Right.
he enjoys sporting
Yeah.
those things.
Don't
He
feel
just
sorry.
lays it
Yeah.
up. He probably not like, oh, he is, he's a hoot.
There's no.
Then we can light switch too.
Joanne's name.
It's fairly nice.
Okay, folks, we are on track.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
so I
do
want to
it.
make sure that I got.
Oh, wait. Unfortunately, I really have to leave at 12. I have a function tonight.
Okay.
Okay, so we just moved those 3 boxes from 4th grade to 3rd grade.
It's gonna be an emergency night, or you might put the outside light off like that.
Okay,
I'll
so,
be in the hall.
what do you need, Beverly?
I'm just making sure because I'm
Okay.
taking the notes here.
So, populations live in a variety of habitats, and change in those habitats affects the organisms living there. Do we have that covered in these 3?
Are you saying we have habitats?
I'm asking if we have this concept.
Read it again.
Populations live in a variety of habitats, and change in those habitats affects the organisms living there.
I don't think so.
Affects other organisms, affects other organisms.
Does this start that?
I think if we combine those all together.
Oh, I think we do because I think you're right.
Where?
Because the 2nd grade, we introduced habitats. So because we introduced it in 2nd grade, we extend that notion of how they're affected by other, I think it's pretty close.
Beneficial.
I just think we don't necessarily need all 3 of those
I don't think we
boxes.
have-
I don't
It's
think
second.
that we have up there that organisms
What you
live
read is in
habitats.
2nd grade.
We have in 2nd grade.
It's in 2nd grade, and that's covered what you just read, in 2nd grade. Look at the 2nd grade.
Identify the different kinds of living
We do.
things.
Different habitats, different critters, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so should we move that?
I would love it if you put it in 3rd grade.
Let's,
I think.
Turn
How
my
do we know
entire,
if
I
they
turned my
live
entire
that?
classroom into the grasslands when you had like literally
But my
5,000
question is,
brown
why,
paper sacks.
here's my question. Why would you leave it in second grade, and then in third grade they expand on it?
You still get it in third.
You
Joanne,
still
what
would
do you
have to,
feel
Well,
about
I think
that?
it's important to have that word in second grade.
I
Because
do.
remember, in third grade, we're starting out with
Okay.
ecosystem.
I
We
do.
habitats in second
Yeah, we
grade.
do need to have the.
this is not in second grade in GSS.
But that's
I like
okay.
it though.
It's third.
But every time we do a singleton like this,
Well, hang on.
it adds a unit.
It's not, that
second
isn't a
grade.
singleton though. If you go back and look,
It is a singleton.
go back and look at the other second grade.
The second grade things.
It's
There's
in
nothing
second grade
there.
in Massachusetts.
There's
Yeah.
nothing there. There's
in
nothing
California?
there. There's nothing
But can it be
here.
combined with,
There's something here in its plants. There's
Here's what my
nothing
problem is
there.
though, Ann,
Huh?
why are we not allowing some type of spiral understanding for students? Because I feel like,
That's an easy one to do.
yes, I feel like prohibiting children to be introduced to important vocabulary and concepts at a younger grade, just for the sake of having a very thorough unit at another grade is not necessarily, should be our goal. I do think that, like she does the tackle thing in second grade, correct? Your second grade teacher? I just
You could add
feel like,
that.
I feel like you can have a 1 week unit on habitats or more at second grade and
So
then
that's-
expand on that notion at third grade.
I do agree a little bit, just because it doesn't fall under the same LS4 category, doesn't mean that it has to be in a different unit. Like, you can
I'm
make a
thinking-
unit out of an LS4 and an LS1.
Yeah,
and
but
it
I'm
can
not
work.
seeing anything else to put in the unit in second grade.
But what about
Well, right.
the tab, like she was saying, the tadpole stuff?
But
It's not in
curricular-wise,
here. We moved life cycle to
They
third
moved life
grade.
cycle
But
to
it's
third
not.
grade. That's
here's
what
where I'm at though with this idea.
I get what you're saying, Julie, as
Yeah.
far as spiraling. That is not the current research. They do not spiral in MGSS like we spiral for our Missouri Glees.
And that's.
And
just
the
another
challenge with
question.
that is that there is already an amount of content that will be put at second grade. I don't know if there will be enough
Is there?
instructional time to cycle it back, to be able to
But
cycle.
see, I just don't feel, I'm just saying instructional wise, when I look at the scope of an entire curriculum in science for elementary school,
Mhm.
until you even get to third or fourth grade, it's minimal. Because like when I hand out
Right.
science curriculum to kindergarten, first and second grade, it's so minimal. If we keep removing things from the early childhood end of it, I'm just afraid.
I don't think we're gonna be, I think there's gonna be just as many, I think we're removing them in this strand. We're not gonna be removing them overall.
You
Because
know,
remember,
this is one that's very, very, it's very, very simple, and it's
So
easy, and I don't even classify it as really spiraling, as just a stepping.
okay, but this is the philosophical, this is where we have to decide what this is gonna look like.
Okay.
Okay, this is the kind
Okay.
of conversation
Mhm.
that makes this hard and difficult.
Okay.
Because, so you remember I told you that we have a framework that we're using for how these are set up.
Yes.
It's gonna be difficult to mix NGSS and our framework while we're going through this. So it's almost like we have to decide where Missouri fits in to this framework, then go back, and if we want to add layers, I don't know what this is gonna look, I don't know what this looks like in this framework.
Right.
Okay, I don't know what Missouri
Right.
looks like in this framework, so I don't have enough knowledge to
Right.
know, is it okay to leave that at second grade?
Right.
I don't know that
You
until
also
I
have the knowledge to know
have
to
the
take it
finished
out.
document,
Gotcha.
and I know what it looks like and how many standards are
saying,
each
and
grade
once we get a
level.
finished
Put
document,
it
we
there
can
for
shift
now,
some things.
group it
I
appropriately,
get
and then
you.
divide it back out later.
Okay.
That's
Then we're
what
not
I'm
to
trying
the
to-
step that she
Okay,
had.
you're
That's
okay,
what I'm
I'm
having
just
trouble
saying.
with.
Okay, okay.
Because I don't know what it's gonna
I'm
look
okay.
like. But then here I'm playing devil's advocate on myself. how do we remember?
That's what I'm
How do
saying.
we know which of
I think
these
it's
were
blatant.
leads?
I think it'll be glaring. I think
Okay.
if the document out, it'll be
We'll see the
glaring.
gap,
I
and
do
we'll
too.
know where.
And we'll know what to kick
Yeah,
back and what
because
to
at that
base.
point, we could take a unit from third grade and bump it down to second grade if we needed to.
But we would need to do the whole unit,
Right.
not
Exactly.
just
Exactly.
little piece.
Right, instead of
Exactly.
a unit. You know,
Right.
Like, we can look at, see, if
And I
third
think
grade,
that's
if
important.
third grade has too much that they can cover, then we can look at the units and say, well, is there one that's a little easier that could be taken down? And we can adjust that accordingly.
So it's almost
We have to get it
like,
all lined up so we know where we're heavy and where we're lacking.
because I don't know what it looks
Okay,
like.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just thinking philosophically
Yes.
for a minute, okay? When you think of all the content areas of instruction that children have to be exposed to, we don't teach content areas as islands. So that would be like saying, we only teach multiplication and number sense at third grade. We only teach cursive writing or whatever at a
Totally
sixth
agree
grade
with
we don't
that.
touch.
Yes.
And so I'm just afraid that, I just don't want our science document to look like islands.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So what, and that's gonna be something that we have to look at once we have this set. So I almost see that as being, we have the scope and sequence of the standards in this version.
Okay.
We almost have to take this version and unitize it and look at the units per grade level and how big they are.
Okay.
To say, third grade has 4 honkin' big units, second grade has 2 honkin' big units and a small unit. We need to move one of third grade's units down to second grade. Which unit conceptually makes the most sense for us to move to second
Okay.
grade?
We can also,
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
we can also look at some of the things that are in the units and say, is there any way we can apply
That's what
a
I'm
concept from
thinking.
this unit to a,
Well, what we
to
would wanna
cross,
do.
to cross teach some of these.
That's
things.
what I'm afraid of.
Right.
I'm afraid of just because we have a really nice third grade unit. I think where we started out with our conversation, remember back when we were in that building the first time, when the parents and other people came into the meeting, one of the things they said was they were concerned we weren't introducing vocabulary at an early enough age and concepts. We were waiting until we had this unit.
But I'm going to interject here. I
Okay.
apologize.
No.
When you were talking about third grade big units, I can see K1 and 2 being a bunch of small
Exactly.
units
Okay.
to build that scaffolding, kind of when you're thinking grade
Okay.
span things. Third grade's kind of where our grade span has been traditionally in Missouri because of the assessment originally, while we don't give it.
Bigger units.
So
I would
small
really
units,
like that.
right, but you see what I'm saying?
I
think
do,
we're
I
gonna-
agree with you.
We're gonna build the
saying-
foundation.
I agree, but what I'm worried about is when I hear the words, we're gonna move stuff from this grade to this grade after we finish, we're gonna move things so that everything's equaled out. Why would we move it if it's a good solid unit? Why would we just have
We don't want to.
small introductory?
And we could do that.
And we could totally do that. So what I'm thinking is if we have this big concept of biodiversity in humans, we would look and see where is that at 5th grade? And what should they have learned at whatever the highest unit is where that is? Now, is there something that aligns with that or prepares students
Okay.
in third, second, first kindergarten to get ready for that? If there's not, and there's time, because remember, if there's too much content, we can't do that. But if there is some standards that we know would be good to put, or a unit, pre-unit, I'd almost call it,
Okay.
before in those grades, there's enough time to do that,
Okay.
instructional time, then I would say, yeah, let's do
We're
that.
gonna put in the scaffolding.
Right.
Because anything we could choose.
Because to me, that's not minimum, to me, that is added.
Okay.
What we're doing right now is the minimum.
Bare bones framework.
This is what has to
Okay,
happen.
I'll go with it.
That's
Does
correct.
that make
But
sense?
then
Yes.
why move it?
But this, I think this conversation was very necessary.
Well,
Yeah,
why move
yeah.
it then? Why not just leave it there
That's my
and
whole
move
point.
on?
Because I do not
Because all this
know.
moving around
And here's the
is.
thing, you don't know if we're gonna need it, but we don't know if we're not gonna need it. If it's there, then we don't forget it. Later on we go, click.
Then copy it and put it in third grade.
Leave it in both and
I
highlight it.
kind of like what you're saying. Except, will we have a clean document? No.
We won't.
No.
We won't today.
Okay, I'm gonna, even though I started this conversation, I'm gonna go ahead and embrace what you're saying, because I do believe in what you're saying, that when we're finished, I do believe that we'll all be able to look at the document and say, oh my gosh, even though we're doing this huge thing in third grade, we haven't done one single thing to prepare for it. So let's just add a little something, kindergarten, let's add a little something.
But you guys remember the highlighted one that we did yesterday, that way we said, construct an argument that some animals form groups that help members survive. And we said being part of a group helps animals obtain food, defend themselves, and cope with changes. Groups may serve different functions and vary dramatically in size. We left it completely off, and I highlighted it because we weren't sure if we really should have left that completely off. My guess is, if I were a betting woman, in middle school, there is something about that. And that is exactly what you're talking about. It's a pre-unit or a pre-instruction to get them ready.
Mixed in with something else.
It's a day.
I'm with you. It's a cleaner way, what you're prescribing to this group is a cleaner way, and I do agree. Because if we start adding a little bit right here and now, it's gonna be all
I'm afraid it'll be muddled
So we
in
need
the
it
end.
clean and solid, then we go back and say, okay, why are we gapping here? Where's the
It's
gap
kind of
at?
like when you're making a cake, you want to find a really good cake recipe. Make the cake moist, really good cake. Then you come in and put the fondant on. Then you come in and get the decorations and put the We're talking about decorations right now. We're not talking about.
I think
I
we're
think
talking
we're
a lot
actually
about
talking
ingredients.
about the type of flour we
I
buy.
think we're talking completely about ingredients.
You're talking about
I think too.
flour.
I think we're talking about the flour we buy.
That's what-
Those extra units is not the type of flour. I don't see them.
But I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
But maybe
I'll go
I'm
with it.
wrong.
I'll go with it because I think what you're saying is when we're finished, we'll have solid units of study. Then we go back and say, okay, look at all we're doing for organisms in third grade. We
And this
never
is the
talked
first
about
time
this.
they've heard the word organisms.
Yes.
So, and is there
I'm in.
time
So
in
that's what I'm
second
trying to
grade
figure out
or
why we
first
want
grade
to
to
remove it.
introduce the word?
We're not
Yeah,
removing
it's
them,
not-
we're moving them to third grade.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is I don't understand why we want to remove it from second grade when we know
Remember
logical we're gonna
how
put
we
it back
talked
in.
about the introduction of, you said habitats, and then we were talking about ecosystems, and how it was a part of
He
it.
wasn't here when we talked about it.
Okay.
No, but I understand what
You
you're saying.
know, well, that was because we had habitats there, and then ecosystem was in second grade.
We did have that conversation.
Yeah, and we talked about that for like 10 minutes.
It's a logical conversation. I wish I knew.
And here's the.
I don't really find it
that I have.
dysfunctional. I don't think that's
I
dysfunctional.
think this works fine. I don't understand I personally don't understand the logic of taking something out that we know we are going to have to put it back in at some
No,
point.
we don't know we're gonna have to put it back in. That's the problem.
Fairly sure we're going to put it
No,
back in.
I don't know that.
What I just said
cannot
is
tell you
fairly
that.
sure we're going to put it back in.
I can't tell you that.
And it goes both ways on that, Ann, and I don't want to get you excited about it. It goes both ways. You don't know you're not going to, but you also don't know that you are. But if
So
you
are you
remove
saying
it, then
just
it's
leave it and highlight it, that it may be something?
That's
But
exactly.
then it's not included, okay, so if we do that, at third grade, we don't have the backup for this unit. So we're gonna have to add,
The
at
backup.
third grade,
I'm
what
sorry.
we're talking about. at
Well,
second
see, that's
grade.
where I do disagree on that. I agree with you. Everything, if you said that, because this is a reason. That's like saying that we're gonna study homophones at third grade, but we don't have the background for it, so we're gonna have to teach them the alphabet before we teach them homophones, but put it at the third grade level, Ann. In my opinion.
Here's the problem, science does not have to build.
Oh, I
It is
agree
not like-
1000%.
It is not like math and ELA, where science units or concepts of ideas,
Maybe taught in islands.
they can be taught in islands.
You have to introduce something somewhere, so that, I mean, if it turns out that that's third grade, it's third grade.
I'm
I'm telling you, there's two philosophical differences.
see
There's
that.
spiraling, and then there's the concept that you teach all the things that you need to teach about this concept, this biodiversity in humans. You teach it in one grade level,
Okay.
you hit it hard, you go deep, it's not a monologue.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I just hope that.
And what happens if you do that and the kid is in the kid doesn't hit Missouri third grade, he's here in second grade and he doesn't, and he's gone third grade, comes back in fifth grade, and you only hit it in one grade level.
Here's the problem
with everything.
Well, there's a problem with lots of, but if you limit it, especially something like this,
Here's my problem.
to one big
Gary.
massive unit,
Here's my problem. I am logical and concrete sequential. and that's the way I made it. And the way that I see this in my head is that we need to get everything together according to the outline that we've agreed to use and make it work. I cannot do spiral and standalone units at the same time. My brain is not capable of doing that. So if you want to do that, the group can choose to do that, and that's fine, but I am not going to be able to help you with working through that process because I'm incapable of doing it.
That's capable of using one unit right there? Wait,
I'll help, but I can't
capable
be
of
the person
using that
in
one thing
charge.
right there?
This is a philosophical
It is
difference.
philosophical.
And this
It
is
is
not about those
Fine,
two
and
boxes in the second
No,
row.
and what I'm hearing from Ann is she's not adverse to introducing things earlier, but she needs to get through this step before she goes to that step.
Just like we
We're
had to
just
go
going
through
to
the glee
glee.
before we
Right.
got to this step.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing from Ann.
Split
She's
the
not
block now. I
adverse
can do
to
that.
doing
I
it
can
that
do that.
way. She just wants to get through this
Okay, let's
step.
just
I
vote,
agree.
let's just vote. Okay, would everybody like to move the second grade habitat to third grade, just so we can move on and have a clean document and make this happen before October? That was very unfair for me.
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with it.
Move the second to third, you said.
Yes.
Move just those concepts there.
Yeah.
Not that they're staying there forever. And I want to make just one quick point on that. When we're talking about, you're afraid we're going to lose the introduction of terminology and different things, okay, there's a good chance that the word habitat or diversity or some of these other words that we're just pointing them at the idea, that might end up applying in an earth science unit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
So
why
it's
we
not
need to get
that
through this
you're
full
losing
step.
That
With all of
That's what I'm saying. We don't have the whole
Before
We
we get to
already
the
know
end.
we have some overlap of concepts in life science and physical science with the conservation of matter and energy. You know, the life cycle applies.
Because this is not necessarily going to end up being black and white.
We're trying to read the last
If
chapter.
we arbitrarily divided them into
Pause.
these,
Right, that's
there
right.
will
feels like
still
we're
be
on one
overlap
square.
of these ideas and terms, maybe not even in life science, but over here.
And I think that might have been one of the points of the NGSS designers, is to make integrated units.
I think so.
Yeah,
That's
you're
something
right.
else.
And I think we can accomplish that.
But there's a
Okay.
process, and we're in the beginning of the
Right,
process,
but we
not
have to
the
get
end.
through this step
I
before we
think-
do that.
Those that disagree should make a note of this, make a note of where it was, what objective it was, and make sure we revisit it when the document is finished.
I'll do that.
I agree. Good point.
Because I can totally see some of these ideas being introduced even in kindergarten when we, are doing those ideas about, if you're worried about them missing the terminology or the basic idea of a habitat or that kind of
My
thing.
goodness, every
It's
grade
not
does an earth
necessarily
unit on Earth
only
Day.
in this glee that it is.
Every grade does an earth unit on Earth
But
Day.
that's not a unit, it's a one day, it's not
Well,
a unit.
but it's an introduction.
Okay.
We've hit it hard
Yeah,
later.
but Ann is right, this is mine is totally philosophical, it's not logistical. So, when we're finished with the document, then I'll go back in and apply what I believe to be true about philosophy and curriculum design. But I'm with you, Ann, I can do it,
I can too, I'm
I
game.
can do it.
What about you, Mary?
We can do whatever we have to do.
Okay.
I'm just not exactly understanding the staunch stand on this particular one piece.
I
When I know
Well,
throughout
you
this
already looked at the
document,
rest of it.
I think that's what
Yesterday,
started it, but I think we're still far beyond those boxes.
Yeah.
It's not about the boxes.
No, it's not about boxes. It's about the design of the
In
document.
product. And we've got to go through this step regardless of what
I
the
can
product.
go with it.
And if you want
I
to
want it
know,
clean.
when we, in Springfield, when we laid out curriculum the first time, we did not use the glees at the grade level that they were at. We clumped them into units. So I had glees from K1 and 2 in a unit taught at first grade, which is kind of what NGSS is doing. So it's a different way of organizing. Okay, so if we move these to third, have we addressed this DCI?
And now here we go to the next one. Can we say it better?
Than DCI or better than
Than
what we have?
I
Because
think
here's
so.
what DCI says.
Where are you?
I'm still on LS4D.
Okay.
It says populations live in a variety of habitats, and change in those habitats affects the organisms living there.
We can word that better.
And see,
And
we
the
have,
second phrase doesn't, I think the second phrase doesn't bring out what it's getting at, which is.
and see, we have all of these things up there.
We do.
We have
So this
5
right
things.
here, I think, addresses the first half of that. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
change in those habitats affect the organisms living there.
No, it doesn't, because that one that you're hovering on, that is a habitat, one
No, I
habitat.
meant, this is the first one.
No,
Now-
I know, but the first phrase here is populations live in a variety of habitats. Many habitats, that says one habitat, so it doesn't quite get it.
Identify the different kinds of things living in a habitat.
That's a different question.
Okay,
this
so
is-
how do we want to
this
word
is-
that?
What,
Now, the next thing-
You
DCI
said
is
variety of
opposite of
habitats,
that.
didn't you?
Well,
DCI
just that-
says there's a variety of populations in,
A variety
in
of
a variety of
habitats and
habitats.
Now look at the
populations.
next one.
Right.
Look
That's
at the
right,
next
that's
one.
right.
Make observations of plants and animals to compare the diversity of
That's
life
it.
in different habitats.
Say that again?
We have it right
It's
it's
the
right
there.
there, about the
green.
next one over in.
The testicles for second grade.
Yeah.
Different habitats, that's right, okay, there you go. And you add the fact that we're making observations, this doesn't say anything.
Do we
about
want
it.
to just limit it to plants and animals?
What else is there?
Fungi,
Well,
bacteria,
At third grade?
rodents, oh yeah, pond water.
I mean, you could just
We don't
change
have to have
that
microscopes
simply,
down
make
there.
observations of the variety of living
And the
things
majority of
in,
your schools couldn't get down to a pond.
you know, instead of
We have
plants
one
and
on this,
animals,
but the
We use
majority-
bird bath water.
kinds of living things.
I use fish tank water.
Use
too.
that, green box,
But
yellow box.
a lot
Okay,
of
what'd
places
you
Say that
don't
again,
have-
Beverly?
Just where it says make observations, just, and if you don't want it to say of plants and animals,
Do we
just
just
of
say
living
living
things.
organisms?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good, yeah.
And that seems like that's above and beyond what they have.
Okay. So then
We're
we get
gonna
rid of
add
this one, so we don't really
Sure.
need this,
You're
right?
gonna have to
Looks the
identify.
same, but, yeah. Looks like the Department of Redundancy.
Then, okay, so then,
We don't have the second phrase yet, don't we?
right,
What is it?
Changes in those habitats
changes.
affect the organisms living there.
Okay, what's our
Even
first
that would
one
be better,
say?
but that
Anybody
just
says that
changes.
Missouri
Yeah.
student activity has
That's
had a
it.
beneficial or harmful effect on living other organisms.
And that's human, this doesn't say human, it's just.
the
says
yellow
changes.
one though matches it. The
Yeah.
yellow one is
Design a
close.
model
Is that yellow?
to solve a problem.
Well, it's green on
It's
the
turned-
wall because
no,
that
it's
wall
turned
is
green
not
in here
white.
too. I don't understand why,
Really?
but it's
Design-
turned green,
what
it's
does
no
it
longer
say?
yellow.
Design a model,
Someone
Yeah.
change, yeah, design a model
Causing change, okay, that's interesting.
to solve a problem
I
causing
thought we
change
already,
in
I
habits.
thought our first
I don't like the
task
phrase.
was to fix our
It's not a
language
model
already.
to-
Say that again.
It
I
wasn't
thought our first
designed.
task was we already fixed the language for our document, and we went through every one of these.
Well, we did for the glees, now we're aligning it to make
So-
sure.
Sure, with the next one.
Okay.
I'm just
That's,
being,
Sure.
but if
You don't wanna
we're
get too far.
already asking them to do this, even though it says human activity, I mean, we basically have two issues here about human activity. Can we just do one on human activity?
I agree.
And one on, causing, because we already had this big long discussion. Most of the time, but not always, it's a human causing change to an ecosystem, but not always.
So you got fish, exotic fish and things like that.
Exactly,
that.
exactly.
That
And
cause
huge
dramatic.
They found a piranha in
But
Norfolk
see,
Lake.
we have this and this, and I realize there are armadillos
Those are
on
most
the
like-
Some of the
Could we,
that they do.
Could we- I have a little bit of an issue with the word problem in that second box. Could we design a model that shows,
I think the word, you mean the word problem is bothering you?
well, kind of, sort of, because Beverly hit it when she said, most of the time, humans cause change to the environment, but there are other natural changes that occur.
But this.
Not every change is negative.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you got more problems than negative, I don't think.
Why don't you
How about this, just
cause and effect
design a model
Yeah.
design a model of a changing ecosystem.
Okay, so time
Or that
out.
shows a cause and effect.
Which would
Okay.
cause a change in an
Right.
ecosystem.
Yeah, I like that.
Because then they're looking at
Because
what
there's-
problem or whatever.
Right.
But still, but it doesn't have to be a problem.
Okay,
No,
so
it doesn't
that,
have to be a problem, that's
And
right.
I know problem
Design a
isn't
model.
negative there, but
To illustrate
Well,
change.
I'm afraid that somebody
It's not-
teaching is
it's not
going to.
necessarily-
okay, so time out a second. We have Missouri in here, which is one thing.
Right.
The second component is, they don't just want human.
Right.
They want changes, they want the concept that when the habitat changes, there are consequences, a cause effect relationship is what they're wanting.
So that's the
So,
model, right?
this is the performance event standard that
Okay.
NGSS has, so let's listen to that one.
Okay.
Make a claim about the merit of a solution to a problem caused when the environment changes and the types of plants and animals that live there may change.
Right, because the merit may be positive.
Or it could be negative.
And as a child, we'll have to
Yeah, we
determine
make a
that.
model.
Exactly.
I like it.
I like what, I think that was so wordy, I like what Bob said.
What did he say?
So design, I think just design a model of a changing ecosystem. Right? Now,
Showing a cause and
But-
and
effect.
I think if we put in
I
that phrase,
love-
cause and effect.
I love what this says in regard to this child interpreting the merit of the change.
Yeah.
Because then they have to interpret whether it's a positive or negative in their own.
They're not doing the merit of the change, they're doing the merit of the problem, of the solution.
Right, that's the change.
Make a claim
That's the change.
about the merit of a solution to a problem caused when the environment changes and the types of plants and animals that live there may change.
How about this, design and evaluate a model?
This is different.
It's not, I mean,
But
it's
here's
about
A model is
The
evaluating,
child is
different
making
than
a
a
claim about
solution.
merit.
but evaluating a
They're
model.
A model
Like
is
means
different than a
somebody's
solution.
Positive, negative influence.
Evaluate means put a value on it,
Yeah.
right? So like discuss the merit.
I like the merit, I like discussing merit, I like including the merit concept for the reason the child has an elective choice to decide whether they perceive it as negative or positive, and they're not dictated into one particular.
But that
That would be-
says
that would be
we
your
have to
teachers.
discuss what it means.
Understanding
Not necessarily because they get to elect whatever it is, they get to choose.
Okay, so
of the.
what's your
Present what I'm
thought?
saying. How do you teach it?
I guess, well,
Just because it has the word
base of
merit.
it is design a
People
model,
never
design a
see
model.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying the teacher won't
Describe,
ever
let's say
show, include the child's
describe the
perception.
model of a
We
changing
don't put
ecosystem.
something,
Design a model.
yes, I design a
Of a
model.
changing
This isn't
Look,
about
you're
the
gonna run
change in the ecosystem, it's about the
No,
effect
here.
of
But
the
you
change.
value-
Right, hang on, we'll get finished,
Well,
we'll
but-
get finished.
Okay, go ahead. Design a model.
Of a changing ecosystem. And that's, now we can wordsmith it, right?
That shows,
They haven't had to come up with a solution.
hang on, that shows a cause and effect,
I'm just showing cause and effect.
that shows
That's
cause and
right,
I'm
effect.
showing cause and effect.
Of that.
Demonstrate cause and effect.
That demonstrates cause and effect. Next sentence. Discuss,
Standards don't have two sentences.
they don't.
Standards are one sentence, that's why they're so wordy. But go ahead, tell me your second sentence.
Well, the next half I wanted to say something about,
I think it's a demonstrating cause and effect.
I love the NGSS.
well, I wanted to put some, I was trying to go with putting something in
Like
there
you
about,
said, it's not the kid reading the language.
So reword it, let's figure it out. You can
Just
do this.
reword it. I do think that if we are all
You could
professionals here
determine-
and we're
you
having
could-
to discuss what that means,
you could determine,
A
in the
teacher
second half,
can't-
you could determine if the change was positive or negative and discuss the merits of that change.
Claim about the merit of a solution.
Yeah,
to-
put it up there and then let's wordsmith it with the, looking at it, that's great.
Environmental changes.
Because I was thinking,
Oh, that's
well,
right.
I was trying to lump it all together.
Plants and animals.
I just really like the way it's worded, I really like the way it's worded.
I don't think, for me personally, its wording would be difficult for a lot of elementary teachers. I mean, I can read it and I can understand it without a problem, but I feel like a lot of elementary teachers have a problem with it.
Okay.
Especially,
Okay.
I mean, obviously I love all of our early
How
childhood
about-
and all, but
sure.
it's
How
just
about-
not in their wheelhouse.
in the first
What's
one.
not their wheelhouse?
This, I think, is much better. I think this is totally,
Which one?
some of the, what you just wrote.
That's explaining about the merit of the
I
solution.
think you got it.
Just,
Yeah.
I agree with you guys, and I'm gonna go for it, but I just have to tell you, I have a problem when teachers say they can't do math, they can't do science, they can't do social studies, they can't do reading, and they have a college degree.
Yes, I
And you're
agree.
teaching elementary school.
I agree.
So I just don't believe there's any excuse.
Okay, but, okay, this is what I'm thinking.
You can't do
In the
that.
first quiz.
You know what I'm saying? You can't do
Design a
that.
model of a changing ecosystem
it's-
that demonstrates
more than
the cause,
It's just
demonstrates cause and
unacceptable, what I'm
effect.
saying, yeah.
And determine whether or not that change,
They can understand.
determine whether or not that change was positive or
Here's the
negative.
deal. Designing a model of a changing ecosystem conceptually is middle school or high
Okay,
school.
well, maybe we need to change that part of it to something.
So that's why I think I like this,
Oh,
because it's not about designing the ecosystem, it's about knowing what the problem is. So there's a mudslide.
Because our goal is to
Now,
make things.
if there's a mudslide, what's the solution? And then, is this solution a home run, or is this an average solution, or is this solution not gonna work? That's what I like about this one, because they're evaluating the solution,
Gotcha.
they're not
And now that I'm
having
looking at
to.
them side by side,
Uh-huh.
they're basically saying the same thing.
It's very
about the
similar,
change in the
yes.
ecosystem.
I think anyone that
Yes.
reads what you wrote,
Huh?
I think anyone that reads what you wrote can understand the merit of
I can
The
understand.
solution,
Exactly.
right.
I think
I
anyone that
can
reads it
yes.
understand what you're trying to get
Yes.
at.
And
that's
if
what
I have
it's
no
too wordy,
science background and I have a
Isn't
college
that,
degree.
isn't that in GSS
Yes.
wording?
Yes.
That's what it said.
Yeah.
I love it.
I have no science background and I have a college degree. I can understand it.
Okay.
Move on.
So that means we get rid of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then the question is, okay. I kind of like leaving the Missouri one. I say we leave this one or this one in.
And don't forget,
So
some
we
of
need
these,
the positive and the,
that I could easily see this in some way fitting, especially there was some, okay, wait, time out. Why can't the environmental problems one be in earth science?
they could be. We don't know that they're not.
Which means we'd
Well,
like
earth
to
science-
lump them together.
No, this is life science, this is
Well,
life.
but, no, I mean,
Earth science
no.
deals with dirt, rocks.
Well, yeah,
and there
but
are-
read box D.
These are the same standards. One of them is Missouri specific and one of them's not.
I think take out the one that's not Missouri specific.
I mean, they're honestly the same standard.
Because if you can determine,
I think that's got
If you can
wording in it,
determine-
that one doesn't.
It does, the wording's different, but it's basically the
This
same.
one said
you can
recycling.
determine what
I
the
know
issues are
I don't
around
even
your
take
state, you
CLD
can,
out.
yeah.
This
Well, if you
one?
take it out, then you've removed recycling, there's a recycling not mentioned
Uh-oh.
anywhere. So Don't just start axing stuff, guys, because there's five of
Wait a
them.
minute, but in the first one, it says, identify examples in Missouri where human activity has had a beneficial or harmful effect on
So
other
let's
organisms.
say recycling.
Recycling can be part of that.
What I'm saying is if we just act, it's not in there currently, it's not
No.
there.
No, it is.
But I do like composting as well.
Okay, let's put
But we can
compost.
add that later or
What
put
else?
that.
That's good.
So
Do we have erosion in there?
No, decrease.
See, erosion means more hurts. is what
That's
it
where I'm
is.
saying.
And we may see it over there, but that would be.
It's also
okay.
life
Yeah.
science because what we're doing is a human problem.
It is.
Yes.
Typo.
Oh, where?
Compost.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They are subtly different.
Yeah, I
That's
like
why we have them.
I like it, Ann.
So leave this.
Now kill them all.
Yes, but now you can kill the other one.
Then,
Do you like that?
I like it.
Very.
That wasn't good what you just did.
Yeah, it's redundant now.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I thought you did a whole column.
No,
No,
oh,
okay.
yeah, oh.
Like, oh my gosh.
She thought the whole column.
Yeah.
no, just one.
I
Okay,
get-
then we need the first, but it wasn't a column underneath, it wasn't deleted.
I don't think we
Fail.
need this
Yeah.
box.
Just
You didn't delete
that
that
row. I'm
Okay.
filling that row.
You didn't delete a column.
I don't think
Well,
we
if
need
you,
this box.
if you delete it, then you gotta turn that one,
Are you
because that has to become
positive?
what you're.
I would agree with
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Are we good with
That should
that?
be no problem. I mean, that
No.
is the same thing, so.
Okay.
She's shifting the cells left.
Okay, just in that row.
Okay.
Coloring green.
Now,
Green.
do we want this green? Or is this just background knowledge for them to be able
And
to
green,
do
the green
the
means
green?
assess.
Yes.
Assessable. How are we going to assess that they made observations?
I know.
Yeah, I would,
Yeah.
I think that is just background knowledge
Yeah.
to be able to do the model or whatever it is.
Yeah,
what
I
they
agree.
decide to
I
call it.
agree.
Okay, so do we feel good about
I'm more
this?
satisfied with it, yeah.
I'm very happy with
It's
it.
nice.
Okay.
It looks good.
Okay, so that means we're done with,
What, I'm sorry, on the far left there, it looks like first and fourth, so what grade level?
Second and third are
Oh, these-
red.
we made
Oh.
changes, so Eric's gonna need to make them.
I can't see anything in there, so
Okay.
I just broke it.
Okay, so we're good?
Yes.
So that's third grade.
Yes,
Okay.
She's third.
this is at third.
And second has nothing, is that
We
what?
moved it from
Okay.
second to third.
Okay, that's good. So make sure it's good.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm gonna put C Ann's notes,
Yeah.
Okay,
because
Yeah, that's really.
Well, it's gonna be pushed to the.
it'll be moved there.
Here's Eric
but for
gets
right
it.
well, I know,
now-
but for
yeah.
Eric, like until, because I'm keeping track.
Okay, so we're done with life science now, let me ask you this. This is a little late to ask you.
That's not good, don't do it.
I don't always think things through completely before I do them. Would it be better to do life science, because now Bob's here, would it be better to do life science K1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or would it be better for us to go to 5th grade and do 5th grade, which we're gonna do anyway, but 5th grade, life, earth, and physical, then drop to 4th grade and do life, earth, and physical, and then drop to 3rd grade and do life, or do earth and physical, because we just did life already, which would give us a better concept
Of how we're
of
gonna.
what is happening at every grade
You can see the bigger
level
picture.
versus just in, because right now we're saying, oh, but what if we don't have enough to do
But
at
it's
I mean,
7th
we can get
grade?
there, we'll think we'll run into it.
Right, but we don't know for sure.
It's like backwards design, I like it.
Well, I think that's how we kind of started this up.
Yeah.
We started with a higher and went down.
Yeah, but we went strand by strand.
Yeah.
We did all the 5th grade for one strand, right? Or for all strands.
We've all moved it.
Right, so that isn't the way we did it. What I'm saying is, yeah, that is the way we did it. Sorry.
That's exactly what you're.
So what do we want to do? Do we want to keep
I like that idea,
moving?
except for right now,
We've already done
Yeah.
K3.
I think we need to do 4 and 5 on this,
Of
and
life.
close the door.
Because we already got our.
And
head
then
in this.
start a new
Okay.
approach.
And then we can start at 5th grade with
Yeah.
physical and
Yes.
start working back and.
Right.
And do physical and earth,
Yes.
and then
And then
do
go
4th
backward.
grade,
I'm for that.
physical and
Yeah.
earth, and then, because we're gonna have a better idea of everything that's at one grade level if we do it that way.
Well, we started-
Which I think will answer some of our questions that we're having
Well,
about.
see, I think so
general
too,
meetings.
because I'm just so alarmed when I see this whole area of blank, that would solve our mindset.
It would,
Mhm.
it would. Okay, so we're going to
What
4th
we need
grade
is about
life.
4 projectors so we can
I
see it
know,
all
we
in
do.
one long row.
What we had, what we've done, what we.
Yeah. Okay,
Aerial
so
view.
4th grade starts with LS1. LS1A.
There's nothing there for us. We have no 4th grade.
Right. I'm trying to make these bigger so. I don't know why they're not on that.
You see what's got cut off.
Yes, we did. We did talk about that. We did.
We talked about what?
We'll talk
Is
to you
there,
about
what do
it.
they have in the 4th grade?
That's right.
I don't, do they have it?
They
They
did.
have one life science at least, don't they?
Yeah,
Unless one-
they do.
Just one.
We have it in 2nd grade.
From molecules to organisms, structure.
Oh, okay.
Structure and process.
Tina, if we touched on it in
They have
second
it
grade.
in 5 senior.
Yeah, and if we touched on it in second grade, senior should.
Yeah, did we already do this one?
We talked about it yesterday in second grade. This, I think, is a little more in depth.
Yeah.
I can't make it bigger.
I'm gonna walk out and get a drink. Does anyone need anything on that?
We'll make that bigger.
Okay, is your issue
I know Julie knows how to do this because we did this.
My issue is this thing.
You're wanting the spell to
I want this cell to be bigger so you can see it.
Okay.
And
It's not all
Be able
observable.
to put it on the bottom of it and text.
See, my problem is
This
that.
thing is
Well, that is my smartphone. That's my problem, because if you go here, you can make it.
The only trouble with me is you. That's it. That's it, song.
Unless somebody has messed with the cell phone from the side. Oh, no. Bingo. You did not.
Ta-da.
So just put the arrow at the end of the row and click.
Okay, so fourth grade, LS1 says plants and animals have both internal and external structures that serve various functions in growth, survival, behavior, and reproduction. The performance standard that goes with that, DCI, is construct an argument that plants and animals have internal and external structures that function to support survival, growth, behavior, and reproduction. Now, third grade, to me it sounds like that.
It sounds like
this. Third grade did not have that, so this is a GLE thing, right?
We put the NGSS standard at third grade. Oh, no, we just did
No.
structures.
But we have it as the NGSS LS1-1. First grade.
Right, so what this is our GLE.
Right.
This is our GLE right here. And they have taken that and put it at fourth grade.
Okay.
Because to me, this box
Yeah.
right here sounds like what I just read. It's not
It's
exactly,
similar.
but it's similar.
It's not, it doesn't, this is strictly the structure and they add behavior.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
My question is, the word structure is the same as organs.
So our first question is, are we gonna move this from third to fourth? Our
only
second
thing?
structure is, yeah, because third grade does not deal with this in NGSS.
But do we have any other thing for us? Now, that's it.
This is it at third grade for this.
About roots, stems, leaves, etc.
This is
That's
just
one of those things
vascular
where
plants.
We're piled up on third grade, that might be a good opportunity to.
Unpopular.
What do we have in first
Let me
grade?
ask you this, yeah, because look at this one. Identify the relationships between the physical structures of plants and the functions of those structures.
Yeah. Leave.
And this is exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that's why I knew we must have seen it in first grade, because we have that.
Yeah, we have a bar
one.
at first grade.
Okay,
So I'm almost thinking delete it.
from third, move it to fourth, and add behavior.
Well, and this one is, hang on, plants and animals at fourth.
Okay.
So at first, Julie left, at first they have just plants.
Second,
Second, we're not doing anything. Third, we're not doing anything. Fourth,
where do we talk about it?
fourth. Like this right here, if we move this to fourth, the one in the DCI here says plants and animals have both internal and external structures.
And but we talk about animals and their structures before fourth grade. That's what I'm getting. It's not like
Oh,
we
yeah.
have had,
Right here.
yeah, first grade, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, you know, I'm good with that.
But you know what? I'm not sure. Did NGSS talk about animals?
Well, I think we have to talk about animals before fourth grade.
I'm sure we do.
We're saying they did if you put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. First
Yeah.
grade did animals and
Yes.
That's why
Okay.
we notated it.
Okay. So
I say they list it in structure and function, information processes, this is first grade module of organisms, independent relationships, ecosystem, plants, animals. It's listed in like a whole page of new places.
So if we move this
And where?
report, then how do we do
So it's in
Okay.
places.
Okay. So are we okay moving it from third to fourth?
And then changing it.
And then changing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This mouse of this thing is infuriating. It's got like a button, and you push on it, it moves the mouse over, so it doesn't click the button. Never go to a meeting with a brand new computer. It is my newest pet peeve of all pet peeves.
All right, I'll bring it back in case it moves.
Okay. So now what do we want it to say?
He says that he should say general.
Double
Again,
Americano.
my question is, this says the word organs, NGSS says the word structures. Are they the same thing?
Structures is bigger than organs.
That's what I would think.
But we don't get to that delineation of the breakdown, you know, where you do cell, tissue, organ
Hierarchical,
systems. We
okay.
don't get that hierarchy till high school.
Oh, okay, okay.
Maybe middle school, but not elementary. I taught it in my biology class in high school.
Should we change the word organs to structures?
That's what I'm, well, here's the thing. This says, construct an argument that plants and animals have internal and external structures that function to support survival, growth, behavior, and reproduction. That is the performance standard, and it's almost the same thing. It reads almost the same as plants and animals have both internal as the DCI. So should I put this wording up here of I don't see a reason to have both, do you? The DCI and the,
No, they're.
I'm gonna put this up here and then we can wordsmith what we want from each one.
See where it says B?
Yes. I remember that.
Okay, now what do we want it to say? Ignore the spells.
So basically, we're moving that to.
This is NS what? Oh, this is LS what?
This is LS4-LS1-1. So you're moving it to 4, to make it plants.
Okay, so you're identifying in there construction. You start now.
Oh, I like that. But instead of saying identify the major organs of plants, I would like to do identify the major organs and their functions in animals and plants.
Identify the major organs of plants and animals and their functions.
Yep. Organs of plants and animals. Do we need all that in there? Don't you think they know their root stems and leaves?
They should by
They
then,
by
because
fourth
we teach
grade.
it in first grade.
Plants and animals
And their functions.
and their functions. Period.
Yes.
Because that gives them a little bit of review about identify the major organs of plants and animals and their functions, which they already did.
Yep.
Wouldn't it sound better though to identify the major organs and their functions of plants and animals? Or would I, or was that gonna lump it? I'm just
No,
asking.
it was better to say identify the major organs and functions.
There we go, that's, I had an extra word in there, yes, that's what it was.
Say it again.
Correct.
Identify major organs and functions
Yes.
of plants and animals, because of plants and animals is a prepositional phrase added on to the sentence.
Right, and I put there in there when,
You're such an English person.
So you don't
I'm
have
really
organs,
not.
organs and their functions?
I do teach writing for
You wouldn't want there,
Okay. All right.
because what are you referring to with
The
there?
order, pronoun antecedent, the order.
I know that,
The function,
You got it, you got it.
but it was the order.
Okay, so now my question is, do we change the highlight?
yes, I was just gonna say that's the one that should be green, right?
Right.
Not the identified.
Right.
Yes.
Oops, I did it again. Did it
Okay.
again.
I had that wrong in my head.
Now, my
You smell like
question.
Christmas.
It's peppermint. Sorry. Anyway.
Green stuff.
Does it make you feel, tell me what it does for you.
Yeah.
It's
like
individual
a-
oil, right?
It's like an analgesic, from pain.
Yes.
And so I'm
The other
getting
that they have
attention.
in my neck, I got a trombone the other day, but that's different.
Well, I tried this and then I go to that.
That stuff did help my neck.
Okay.
Oh,
How is
Now,
it?
speaking of science, I'm wondering about the one that's just green right
The
now.
health concern.
So, to me, the one
Here,
that,
I can.
to me, this one that we just highlighted, I feel it's a little weak. I don't, it just, I'm wondering if we need to make it more obvious that we want to connect the structure to the function.
That's what I'm
Structure goes to the
saying.
function.
That's-
It just says that they have.
I'm sorry, can we switch this off green back to yellow? Because maybe it's just my,
It's yellow on my screen.
It's the
it's yellow on your
wall.
screen?
It's the wall is not
No, but it was
white.
green on mine earlier.
It is yellow on all of our screens as well.
Yeah.
I think you're.
I'm glad I'm colorblind. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's a I'm not clean on mine, it was green just like that.
I don't know. I just know that it's yellow on my
Because I thought we switched, remember I said we switched to green because it's green on my screen.
I didn't.
I got yellow on the screen right now, so that's not my eyes.
And click on the color
Remember
print
the
up top
positive
there. Let's see what.
reference reference sheet.
I chose-
Oh, that's, yeah, see, that's what, that's yellow. That's what it looks like. Yeah, that's where the yellow is. I know that.
Oh, that's in that little.
That's.
Yeah,
yeah,
teachers
that's
are
yellow.
welcome patients.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Yes.
Gus, I mean, maybe.
Yeah, that's.
Here's some-
Oh, let's not worry about it.
Brand new computer.
The office did it, and
I mean, what yellow is.
The argument
Now, I
here
think this
is
is not
that
a
they,
minor offense.
the argument
He doesn't
here
care,
is
minor
not that
offense
they're
is
connecting
theft.
structure and
That's a
function.
huge offense.
They're connecting structure and function
Seriously?
to survival, growth, behavior,
About,
and reproduction.
Right.
So it's not the concept, see, first grade's the concept of the heart pumps blood.
Okay, okay.
This concept is the heart pumps blood and it helps us survive because it forces the blood through the body to get oxygen. So it's a different, it's the next level of
Okay, yeah, it's just
of
more.
concept.
Yeah, complexity.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you.
Does that make sense?
He took it when I did. You see what I'm saying? Yes.
Wow.
That's what my father did.
That's all
My
for the
dad's
sentence.
2 cartons.
It's just got a lot of.
Now, I think we may need to change this, add to this.
I was made it crazy.
Identify the major organs.
I'm like, as a teacher, I would wanna do all the body parts and all, all the stuff, the digestive system, all that. Is that what you're trying to get with this?
Well, what we want you to do is we want you to teach that, but we want you to teach it in the idea that those support growth, survival, behavior, and
Yeah,
reproduction.
don't just.
I don't really want you talking about the appendix, because it doesn't support growth, survival, behavior, and reproduction. So
Oh, I
do we
see.
need to add those words in here?
I'm just thinking like, as
That
a teacher would
support-
read that.
If you know what page that's on the
Did you see
NGS?
the video on Rick?
20,
Talking
33.
about the kids in the office.
Are you guys okay if we add,
Let me see it, what you done. I'm gonna see the word, I agree with that. Identify the major.
Yeah, then it does that. That's what happened to me a while
The
ago.
system of the human.
We don't do
we can take reproduction off,
Fourth
I'm
grade.
fine with
Well, I
that.
think we,
it. Fifth
We
grade
did on
does.
the other one.
Well, you know what?
yeah, or is that in?
No, fourth grade, fifth grade does,
That, all this
Well, we're
body stuff,
asking
I
them
think
to
is
construct
like
an
And then
argument
the-
about reproduction.
I don't think it's
Yes,
necessary to
yes.
do reproduction at fourth grade. but-
I don't either. As a former 4th grade teacher, I would die.
So I.
So here's the thing, wait,
Oh.
just making my devil's
But it is
advocate.
important in the plant part.
That's what I'm saying.
You're
We're talking about
talking
plants.
about
The teacher could forget, the teacher could use it for plants and not for.
Yeah, but if it's up there as a teacher, I'm gonna be, well, I have to do it for
Oh,
animals,
that's
actually.
1,000%.
Because it
See,
says
that's what
plant
we're
and
saying.
animals.
When it was just plants, it was easy to leave it, but now we've muddied it.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's plant and animal, and I'm just thinking as a teacher reading that, wow, I'm gonna have to
Okay, I'll
talk about all
fix
these systems.
But now, does it mean that all of that's just?
No, it's just the one that has parentheses after it.
Well, how about you say, how about, and plant reproduction?
Yes,
There you go, perfect.
perfect, Bob, this is what we need you.
Yes.
You're speaking to us, Bob. Now, see, you wouldn't have rather been with us.
Just have one reader. And then we need to do that, yes,
Before Eric left, poor Eric was all alone with us the rest of the day.
Yeah, Bob, you missed it at lunch
Oh, he
with
was
Eric
amazed.
and
He
the
was amazed.
7 women at the table.
And the poor waiter.
Ryan does not have no later story.
He does today.
I should go find out.
Okay,
This is.
so we're good with this?
23 at one
I'm putting that in the notes. And then it's to reflect reproduction as a plant only.
Much easier
This isn't right.
than I don't think as a teacher, I have to teach it,
Yes.
you know.
Okay.
I ran into the same.
I'm
Okay,
making sure that's in the notes.
Hey,
And
can I
then
ask
it's
a
reflect
question?
reproduction as plants only.
What we're using here is not what's posted on the Next Gen website. I mean, it's on the,
I think it's just the page numbers that are different.
something is different by, like,
Are you on the organized by DCI?
I'm just looking at your page numbers.
I know,
Are you
gotta-
on
you gotta be in the
organized by
right order. You
DCI?
gotta be in the right
But it's a
organization.
different sorting of it,
Yeah.
so your page numbers aren't going to line.
It's an alignment thing.
Wow.
Is it the same words?
I just want to make sure, I mean,
Is it the same words?
no, 'cause I can't find it at all, so I'm trying to figure out why I'm not able to look. I just thought I'll bring it up on here, because,
Yeah.
In the classroom.
Well,
In the classroom.
It varies per classroom.
I think you might be organized by topics. That's probably what that means. Yeah, topic races, so you're in the wrong one. You gotta get to the one called organized by.
I was just trying to make sure it's
Yeah, click that one. I just think that's what I got. Okay, now you got it. Okay, there you go. Yes. By just, yeah, that's it, that's good.
Do you see what? In each table has a set.
It's just more, I mean, that's probably, it's not a process.
Also, I was like, I hope we have the most current.
Yeah,
I know this is
Appreciate
like-
it.
Mine's right over
Well,
2013.
that's what this said too, that's why I was like, something about
Yeah, yeah,
everything was exactly the same, except none of it was the same. Like, that'll be our luck, that's when they ran off for us, and that's what we've been using for the last 6 months.
Good.
Well, that's what I'm saying, as long as it's the most current or whatever everyone else is doing their
School,
stuff.
he can.
Okay, so we're good with this?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're on LS 1B.
B is in boy.
Is that still fourth grade?
D is in dog.
And then, so, it met with me.
And so the DCI says,
Where is that?
Exactly.
we're on page 33 still.
Oh, okay.
I understood.
Oh, D. Oh, okay. Yeah, information, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, ready? Okay. Different sense receptors are specialized for particular kinds of information, which may be then processed by the animal's brain. Animals are able to use their perceptions and memories to guide their actions. So then the next gen standard is use a model to describe that animals receive different types of information through their senses, process the information in their brain, and respond to the information in different ways.
How do you show you processing in your brain?
Well, that's what the model's for.
How can you process in your brain? If you're illustrating as an elementary student,
Like a flow chart. So
I think what that means is
information flows into this.
light goes through the eye,
Right.
it has to go to the brain,
Right.
flip it over, and then it talks to my brain and I have reactions.
It could be a snake's tongue,
Sure.
it could be your
Right.
skin.
Right.
Any sensory organ.
So the concept is that it enters, so what port does it enter through?
Okay,
The
I
ear,
got
the
you.
nose, the tongue, whatever.
Then what
Then
happens?
it has to go to the brain.
Okay.
And
So
it,
the concept
Gotcha.
is, it has to go to the brain to get processed.
Gotcha.
but they're not bringing it down to the hypothalamus processes
Yeah.
this portion
Or
or.
which lobe of your brain?
Yes.
And by the way, I'm thinking engineering right now, because that's like, oh wow, this, you would do the
It
same kind of
is.
thing, it's
It
like
is.
flow chart.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what happens,
What a
what
great thing to
goes,
show them.
what's
students.
transferring.
Okay, so what we have there,
That's true, we don't.
notice that we have a gap here. We identified that we did not have standards that addressed this particular one.
Mhm.
And what we had from Missouri was identify instincts, which is gonna be different than,
I still think it's important to address the instincts.
I think we
though.
leave the instincts
Yeah.
there.
I
Totally.
think that's still an important.
I totally agree. I think we
Yeah.
leave instincts
And then
there.
make the model about, okay, so say you're talking an instinct about a coyote catching a rabbit, then.
I don't know that I wanna assess instincts.
Well, that's what I'm saying then, but when you're designing your model, you
Yes.
could design a model, and if you wanted to tie that together as a teacher, you could, okay, well now design a model about how the coyote processes that.
That's
Right,
Because
right.
the
He
instincts
sees,
work with
yes.
the sensory organs.
Yes.
But that's
How the
instructional.
coyote
Right.
But they work together.
processes,
I agree.
how the coyote processes the
Maybe we don't have to
cues.
say that they have to
Cues,
use
the
the
external
instinct
cues, right.
to do their model, but it ties nicely.
So, the
Because instincts are
DCIs,
very much.
I'm gonna type in the DCIs and you guys can decide how we want to reword it.
That's a good idea.
That is so helpful.
It is, I'm very visual.
It does help when she types it out, because then we can see the two side by side.
I can't retain those.
I can't either. I'm visual, not auditory.
And really, this doesn't, her typing it in once doesn't take any longer than her reading it.
Well, sure.
So we can all
And
figure
it
it out.
also allows us to synthesize, in our brain, all of them, decide how they might go together.
Now, these two were put together, but I separated them.
Okay.
Okay? Then this is the final, this is their standard.
I'm looking at one. Find the one we're using.
Oh, okay. Well,
In
that's
third
just-
grade or on the least,
Just the
Is she typing
NGSS.
the disciplinary?
I think she's typing everything from,
I've looked at all three of those.
it's on the disciplinary core areas of the NGSS.
Well,
I think that's
what I thought we were
very
doing.
descriptive and easy to
I put
follow.
this one.
What I did is, that's exactly what I did, and I just would scroll through.
But that's one, it's not the same. as
It's
what
not
is.
this.
But.
No, not this, I'm talking about the one we're using.
We're using this, which they may have redone their website. I have a link to it in my Google Docs. You have a link to it in your Google Docs? Harry, when we had that original, like, source documents in your Google Docs, it's there.
So go to your Google Drive, or put in
Some are disciplinary core, some are.
Okay.
We have the standard.
So we're keeping B, we're just, these are the two that are the DCI that I split into two boxes. And then this is the performance standard from the NGSS. So we would make this green or yellow if we decide that's what we want to do. So that's what that would look like.
I know we're trying to cut, and we have been cutting, but I think in this instance, they all four work.
That what?
They all four work.
I
I
do
think
too.
they do too. I think they
I
offload
think
really
they work well.
into the
Because
final
I
one.
don't want to get rid of this idea
No,
of
I don't
instincts
either.
and external cues.
And there's no way to meld the two together.
No,
They're two
they're
very
two
different.
different, yeah, they
agree.
need to be separate.
And those will be great lessons. They're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
great lessons.
Yeah, they
And
are.
they can all be quickly taught as one
Together.
idea.
Yeah.
Now, it seems to me that the third one, I'm trying to think, I don't think it hierarchically it works. I think maybe the third one ought to be first,
First,
because it's smaller, it's about,
yes,
right?
it's about their perceptions and memory.
Yeah,
Then
small
we talk
thing.
about instinct.
I think the instant
Well,
one is
because
third. I think it goes
Talk about
3,
this.
2, 1, 4, maybe. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that one about the instincts, and
Because
that's
the
about
instincts, you're still using
migration.
you're still using your receptors, you're still using your,
Right, that's right, you know what I mean? It's like, it's small, yeah.
they're still receiving,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
they're
yeah,
still processing.
Migration seems like a much bigger thing than whether I'm gonna react to this more and faster or not.
I think we do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because actually this is a bigger idea than we're testing.
It's enrichment, it's pushing.
I like it a lot. I like all of them.
Yeah.
Because as a teacher, I just could see how much fun I would have
Uh-huh.
teaching
Yeah.
all those different things.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it really goes from small to big.
So we're good with, this?
Yeah, I think that was good.
Guess what? We're done with
It's so nice to see you on that.
I gotta go eat Dan. Moving on.
You're such an aggressive, angry
I'm
bunch.
See, Ian's notes, moving to fifth grade.
Okay, now we're on LS1,
That would be awful.
C.
I said we're such an aggressive, angry bunch, but we're not.
Exactly.
I can't imagine. That would be awful.
Oh,
Page
I would have
41.
resigned.
Yeah.
It does not match this.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
I cannot find one that matches what we're using. That's a little.
And
confusing.
typing it in anyway, though.
LS1.
Huh?
You're typing it in anyway.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you know what I've been
You
forgetting?
know what
to
I
do?
went
Really
to,
helpful.
because it was so
I
hard for
forgot
me.
to change that red.
I just have pulled this whole thing apart and just find the.
No, I understand that I understand what we're using, and I can see that, I just can't understand why I can't bring this version up from their website.
Maybe
I
they
don't-
changed it.
Well, that's my concern.
Well, maybe not the information, but the page numbers.
Yeah, I think it's
I
just
don't know.
worded differently.
I mean, if it's not the same, it's.
I can't find the cover page of this.
I can't figure out why anybody does anything anymore.
I think I just inserted it.
Hey. Oh, sorry.
Hey, what?
Okay, I'm gonna put all the last night stuff over here.
I started watching, I put that off. That's all right, the Cubs.
The Cubs beat the Cardinals?
By one.
Okay,
We
so
skipped the first two.
what we
So can still in
see
the series.
up here in third grade is, Glees.
Okay.
Because, DCIs do not have anything for LS1C. Okay? Then, LS1C this is for fifth grade, says plants acquire their material for growth chiefly from air and water.
It says describe the basic needs of most plants, i.e. air, water, light, nutrients, and
That sounds familiar, like that's somewhere else.
Well, it's right here. In first
Oh,
grade.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So here's what this is getting at, okay? The Annenberg Institute did some videotaping of Harvard graduates, and they showed them a log and said, where did the growth of the tree come from? So if you have this log, where did the material that is the difference between this log and that oak tree come from?
Now they went
And
to the acorn in the
the
log.
kids said, huh?
It was the acorn in the log.
No, it was the log.
No, it was
Well,
the
yeah,
acorn.
and
The log
then
was the tree.
and then the log
Where
and
did
the
the
tree,
material-
whatever. Anyway, where did the material come from? And the Harvard students said, some said minerals, some said the soil, some said water, so different things. Well, actually, for the tree to grow, it's carbon. And so the carbon is going to come from the air, carbon dioxide, and water. So it's that process of respiration where we break down and we get the carbon.
Okay, there's one in Massachusetts about that.
Right. So it's a huge deal that there's a misconception because we teach kids that they need the basic needs are exactly. And a lot of teachers will say minerals and they'll say soil. You don't need soil to grow plants, but they still, that's a misconception teachers have.
They just happen to grow well there.
Right.
It's
So
a good medium, but it's not required.
this concept,
Hence the bean in the paper towel.
Yes.
so this concept, they put it at 5th grade because for kids to understand the abstractness of the idea that the carbon comes from the carbon dioxide and the process of photosynthesis and respiration in order to get this carbon that builds the organic material for the organism to live. So we have it at 3rd grade, but I don't know, the kids at 3rd grade are not going to get this
They're not gonna get
concept of where they're coming at from here. Okay, so our first question is, do we keep this at 3rd grade? Do we move it to 5th grade?
I think keep it 3rd grade because they can understand everything that's on this.
They sure can.
But this isn't the concept that they have to get.
How about we add one that says identify that soil is not required to grow a plant?
Well,
I mean, because that's getting at what you're talking about, which.
Well, why don't we add one?
why can't we just add it? Leave it, what's wrong with leaving it in 3rd and then making it more complex?
Because it does go with the other two.
That's what we talked about a while ago, though.
That's what I mean.
She doesn't wanna do that.
She doesn't want to do that, okay.
Okay.
One problem with what it says is the word nutrients,
Some
because
things
then
are
it
missing from
says,
this then.
then the teachers can glom onto the word nutrients and say, well, they get the nutrients from the
Here's the
soil.
problem.
Now soil becomes
These
important.
3 that standard is not talking about growth, it's talking about needs.
Needs.
This
For growth,
standard
you're
is
assuming,
talking about
you're
growth.
assuming that the needs are for growth. And you have to assume that.
You may assume that, but I'm going to tell you right now that teachers do not teach that plants need this to grow. They're going to teach that plants need this to live. That's going to be that's how it translates to
When
the
no, when you start talking from the seed, and you start about the growth of the plant. And I don't know any teacher that doesn't start talking about the seed, how that actually, at the very beginning, it doesn't need anything except the water.
They
So
do
that
a
the
seed
embryo that's
coat,
inside the seed coat,
germination,
germination, and all that.
They do.
Starts to talk about, but it's all about the growth of the plant.
It needs carbon dioxide. It does not just need water, because water does not have carbon in it, and it has to have carbon in order to
grow past
increase
germination.
mass.
Past germination.
In order,
Past
Okay.
germination.
okay.
Question,
Because the seed has.
Can we address this misconception concern in our storyline? Would that be feasible?
Easily.
If we kept
Oh, we
the
definitely need to put
standards.
that in the storyline.
Right.
That, what she discussed, we definitely need to put that in the storyline.
Certainly.
Right.
Okay.
But I didn't know if that covers the concern that you have.
We are now back to our philosophical question.
We are.
Again.
So
Do
she
we
and I were
keep
talking
it
about
in 3rd and hit it again in 5th in a more complex way?
gotcha. I think we should do that.
Well, okay, I will
Absolutely.
just say my thought on this.
Are you talking about
Forever, when we talk about germination and plant growth in 3rd grade, I just feel like,
Well,
I think kids are really smart,
see
and
that
I
at
think we're
all.
not giving them enough credit to make it more complex in 3rd grade.
We don't need to see it, right?
What are you doing? I like to change it for some reason. I like it.
I'm highlighting it because if you guys are leaving it in there, I have to know that it's not a part of this outline. I have to know that it's been added, that we're leaving it. It's glees that we're leaving there that are not a part of this structure that we are
Well, I'm
working on.
asking why, if you consider a span, of instruction? Why we can't just add more terminology to third grade and make it more succinct and more?
Because third grade is this concept is too abstract for third
Well,
grade.
and here's
No,
the thing.
if you add what you're wanting to add to it, you're making it more abstract, right?
Here's the thing though, when I'm reading this NGSS standard for this, it says plants acquire their material for growth chiefly from air and water. It's still not addressing the misconception.
Right, that's
Except
right.
carbon dioxide is in the air.
Right, but
The standard is not the
it's not
instruction.
emphasized.
It's not emphasized.
That's
no.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
It's
still
the
not.
instruction that has to.
But why don't we just put the true verbiage in there? Why don't you really put what it is instead of the air and the water?
It is the air and the water.
But why don't you put
Carbon dioxide in the air. Well, because it's also
It's cleaning
nitrogen.
the carbon from the carbon dioxide. Because if you just put carbon dioxide, you're
We're
going
gonna
to
get
air.
primarily.
You're not gaining anything.
Well, I think her point is well taken, that most people who teach this teach it incorrectly.
Yep.
And the way it's worded there, they'll still teach it
I
incorrectly.
don't think you got.
The problem is
you
they
got
have to
one
have
thing
carbon
about it.
dioxide and oxygen, because in order for photosynthesis and respiration to work, you have to have both.
So I'll
is there a storyline
and
that we
it's
address this?
I mean.
Or
Okay.
do we take that and move it to 5th grade for now, and when we get later down in the process, and we see that 3rd grade has room, we do a mini unit, for lack of a better term, to build the scaffolding we need? I'm just asking, I don't.
I don't think there's any reason to move it whatsoever, because you keep, and I get what you're saying, but I don't understand the logic of putting it up in 5th grade just to turn around and take it back and put it in 3rd grade later.
Okay,
We know
so
it's gonna be here.
Here's the deal, Perry. We just had this argument 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
This is the exact same argument that we had 20 minutes ago. I thought that we had agreed that we were going to put things in this structure and come back and add. Now, if that's not the agreement,
Okay, and I heard you the first time, and
then I'm highlighting this purple, we're leaving it there, and we're moving on. That way I know
then
when
let's just
I
leave it
look
there.
at this
That's fine. We'll just leave it there
document.
and move on.
Okay, now I will make a quick point. Some of these same issues, didn't we just sort of touch on, like this one in 4th grade just a minute ago? See what I'm saying? So we're not
Okay,
losing
I'm
it
concerned,
forever.
Dan. I'm concerned.
And that's what I'm saying. I just
And
don't.
we can't. I'm concerned. Here's where my concern is. We had this conversation a while ago, and even though I may have had some philosophical reasons why I felt we needed to enrich it, my understanding was that we need to make this clean and align correctly, and not haphazardly go through it and do some and not do all. So my fear is if we don't just move it and then go back and decide
We've
later,
not followed the same.
we're not following our protocol that we
And Terry,
discussed.
here's the thing.
Okay,
I'm
Avery,
tired of arguing, I gave up. I mean, honestly, I'm telling you, I'm tired of arguing about it. I gave up, I marked it yellow, or lavender. So 5th grade, we now need to put in whatever this says for 5th grade, because that's what our framework that we decided, the research that we based everything on, the DCI says at 5th grade, plans acquire now, it's a grade span 3 through 5th. If we want to sit down and try to figure out all of the DCIs in here and rearrange them all and put them all at different grade levels, we can do that, but that's probably
And
another
I really thought
2
too,
weeks of
when
work.
you went with using this framework, that you were very adamant that you were not going to be moving directly from the
These
next
are
gen.
not the next gen. What I'm looking at is not
That's what
the
the
next
framework.
gen.
Okay, and I'm sorry, but I'm just asking you a question.
I'm telling you, I've said it 4 times today already.
But Terry, these DCIs,
And I don't have my thing in my hand that she's reading right off of, so I'm assuming she's reading out the next gen because it's a sheet.
Yes,
Wait
it's
a
like
minute,
that.
I think I see the problem. I
Here's
don't know
what
that
we
Terry
did.
was here
He
when we
wasn't
had this
here. He wasn't.
conversation.
Okay.
I'm asking Shirley to be informed. but I
Okay.
think
The
you-
DCIs of the next gen period come
had
directly
this
out of that book.
conversation. We did not know where they came from. Where did they come up with these? That was our question. Where all
And we
of
did
these
that
written?
research.
So, what we found is that this center box came verbatim, word for word, from that book.
That they're not truly next gen.
Yes.
And that's what I'm asking you, that's
Yes.
what I asked specifically.
Yes.
But now this This is what they did.
That's the
This
next gen.
and these are what they are coming up with.
But what we need to do, can you open your computer, because we need to find.
I can't find it all on there, so.
Well, we need to find the document for you,
The
so
next,
that you can see it.
The
way it
framework?
is.
I get what you're saying. That's different.
This
I have it, I
is
think.
next gen.
Can you give it, can you
This,
show
we're
it?
going through
I just-
is this book, the framework. You see what we're saying? And then they come up with this. So that's why what you'll find is we'll go through these, but what we end up doing here ends up being, because
And that's what we're trying to look at
can we
originally.
read one of those phrases
That's
so
what
I
I said all
can?
along.
It's,
but we're still
plans
using
acquire
the
their
core ideas,
materials
which
for
are
growth.
basically,
cheaply from
Right,
here
here's
and
the
I
core
understand
here.
what I'm saying. I just don't understand why this is such a monstrous deal. The one time
This
part.
is why, let me put it this way, because I was with you and I agree with you. I think we all really agree. We're arguing a moot point because we came to, we said that we just want a clean document that we can easily look at that is properly aligned for thematic instruction. And that when we finish, we'll look at the big scope and picture and then decide
what we need.
right.
Here, I was gonna show you.
It's just for the purpose of logistics that we put it where it belongs, in my opinion. Because I'm with you on the instructional part of it, sure, but for logistics,
I
I believe
can't
in
deal
it,
with this. And
we need to
And
know
I
where it belongs.
apologize that I didn't realize when
Is
you had
anybody
left.
with me on this?
Do you see in the framework?
Hmm?
Here's
I'm
the
going
framework.
with you.
And that DCI component that she just read out of that next gen, here I just searched for it, and that's what we're saying, is the part that we're reading on that
I just want the
document
document.
is truly from the framework. It's not a next gen thing. Which is the framework that, okay,
That's what I was
so,
trying to look up originally, that's why I was asking the question.
okay, I
And that's somewhere
apologize.
we gotta get angst, because I'm asking a very simple question. I think it was a very simple question.
I apologize. I was a little frustrated.
Well, and you didn't realize he wasn't here when we had this whole discussion about where did this come from, which we did.
And I apologize, I kept looking for the next gen document and now realize that you really wanted to see the framework
No, it's
document,
on-
so that's my misunderstanding. Would you like me to
That's all I've been
email?
looking for the last hour.
Do you want me
Here's
to
the
email this to
problem.
you? I have it downloaded. Would that be
Then-
helpful?
There is not a nice way that these DCIs are listed in this book, in this document.
Right.
If you look at the next gen document, they're listed down the middle
They're
here.
this.
But
That's why
they're
we're
Well,
not-
that's all I've
It
seen you
means-
looking at, and that's why I'm
Right.
asking. So I
There's
don't
where the
wanna-
misconception
Here.
was, yeah.
So what you need to do is look at next gen, so go to the next gen
When I brought up
standards.
next gen standards, I cannot bring up this document that
Yeah.
we are using
By
currently.
DCI, okay.
When I picked up every, that's what I said.
What does the DCI stand for?
Well,
Disciplinary
disciplinary,
chloride.
we're using the most current version of this also,
Right,
because
Right.
I had a hard time finding it yesterday, and then he's renamed it something else, but you can find it, he shared it with us, we just can't manipulate it.
I just can't find it on their website. No, I
Oh,
can't find it on
find
next
that?
gen. I
In
can't
this
find
format.
this.
Oh, because it's printed by disciplinary court, and you search by disciplinary court area.
We looked through everything. We'll look at that later.
Okay,
Don't
anyway,
wanna take
okay.
more time out of it.
Okay, wait, before you go further, may I ask you a favor? For purposes of us doing what we discussed earlier this morning, may we please align the entire unit, like we discussed earlier, even though I am a former third grade teacher and do believe strongly in introducing plans in third grade, but you know what, sometimes I just give up the ghost for the purpose of making sure that Missouri students and teachers have good quality. And we'll go back and decide where it goes later.
Well, and I have had to eat my words for years just because we've always done it that way.
That's
Doesn't
right.
mean That it's a
That's
perfect
right.
way.
That's right.
And I am living proof.
I'm with you on that.
I mean, I'm tearing myself down because I know that.
So, Ian, I think at this point, unless there's disagreement, that we should move everything to fifth grade.
I'm in agreement with that statement.
Me too. But, we've already discussed that when we're finished with the entire product, we'll look for gaps.
This is just the beginning step.
Okay, so we have what's in third grade right now.
Yes, needs to be moved.
And the question, and I went ahead like we have been doing, and I have put in the ones from the DCI is this one, this first box. This is what NGSS has for their assessment standard. So what of these do we keep? Do we want to switch wording on something? How do we feel about that? This is what we have at first grade. This is what we have at first grade. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Okay, so then we really don't need basic needs of plants for your life.
No, because.
Oh, I'm sorry, kindergarten.
Yeah.
Where
That's
does
what I'm
grade
saying,
go?
that's what I'm saying.
That's kindergarten, I don't say first
In
grade.
kindergarten
Oh, I
and.
totally messed this up.
Why?
What did I do?
Just hit the
Hit
back button.
undo.
Back button.
What did you mess up? What did you mess up?
Well, we'll see if it goes all the way back.
What'd you do wrong?
Well, I deleted a row because we had 2 kindergartens, but I think, hang on, we're gonna fix it. Okay, there we go.
Oh,
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, that's what you want me to, okay, that's what I was,
No,
I thought you had a Gmail one and I was just.
Oh, I do.
no, that's the way
It's
it's
okay.
supposed to
I know mine, I just.
Yeah,
have you
moved
I
things
I was just clarifying, and I did
why
not put the
it's
R
not
in.
Remind me about that.
I learned my lesson on that one.
I switched over to them because I couldn't get any Chrome, so I thought,
Okay.
so yeah, I tried to get Chrome. And that's for better.
Okay, that's the way we ended. So these are in kindergarten.
That's what I was saying earlier, just because we took them out of third grade doesn't mean we're not hitting them, because we're getting that basic idea in kindergarten.
Then we're saying that we want to put these in.
And some of those things are almost too basic.
I'm not going to go to the computer.
Yes, you did. Don't give up hope yet.
Okay, so the first one is the DCI, the,
Massachusetts science.
say it again.
California is very brief.
Yeah, Massachusetts.
Carolina
are boring.
does
They have like
too.
5 standards
We'll talk
For
about
it?
simplistic.
for the whole grade span.
That's 1 per quarter. Kind of some.
Well, I think that goes back to.
That was a good one.
What we see our mission is to give teachers more background. Those are very, very just
I
blunt.
love what we've done.
statements. And what we're hearing feedback wise is teachers don't want it to, they want 2 things. They want more information, but they don't want it to seem cluttered.
Well,
Gene, what?
Cluttered.
Cluttered?
and for this teacher that doesn't have a strong background in science,
They want the
they
background
need
knowledge,
more,
but
because
they
they
don't
don't
want too
have
much.
time. Yes.
The storylines are rock star.
Mhm.
Now,
I think
Massachusetts has those too, good storylines.
I think that helps a lot.
Okay, so are you back to where you were? I can make some notes on that. Okay. So,
And I forgot to
Just
bring my
first to
printout.
fifth
In
grade.
black and white, and it creates more of a.
Printout.
I'll send you
I
So
know,
this
printout.
one is
Just
the
put them on back.
Yeah,
DCI.
wait,
Wait, isn't it in fifth grade?
email address on you.
Now you got it.
Oh, gosh, we need you.
Not that Anne's
Can't figure it out.
another thing, but.
I still need
She
Happy to be back. That was exhausting.
Aw, you should have been here.
Okay,
We
so.
needed a mediator.
Yeah, we got
Yeah, we
to.
did for a minute, but we got it.
We're all
We
good.
managed.
So if we divide it into minority and majority.
No such
Shall not
thing.
pass.
That will
It
never
hasn't gone
happen.
that far yet.
But I'll tell you what, Perry and Ann, neither one give up.
And I admire
I
that.
did too, I did too.
Because
It needs
it
to
warms my heart to know that we have educators that are
I
that
don't even know why you would think
passionate
that you could do
about
that.
their content.
I agree.
Because if you
Oh,
weren't,
really?
we would be a heck of
I
a
think
I
they did.
agree.
Controversial.
You can't do that.
They want the same.
English
thing.
schools controversial?
Yeah, they're like, they're doing this.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, is that yours?
Try going to
And
eat.
there's
Nope.
not a thing.
This is.
Oh, okay.
I'm moving it back.
Alright.
Those private
So you want me to just move down faster then?
I agree.
You're gonna go this
I
side?
just, yeah, sure, but I just moved closer to be, closer to the action.
We all,
Oh,
we all
actually, you don't want to sit
have
on the
passion
side.
about
It'll
this.
get hot.
And we all have.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hot, actually, the vent is this way, we'll get hot.
No, I mean,
I'm going to get some tea.
All right, thank you all.
I'm okay, but thank you.
you have to, well, yeah, I say close to this.
Yeah. That's,
And
that's
I'm not
right.
really using all that stuff.
Then just spread out.
Well, I'm
I
here.
just got my, we have a nest back here.
That's right. I hope I can join this nest.
Okay, so I made some changes, and I highlighted the cell at the beginning in red to make sure that you knew where I made changes. I downloaded it, made changes, highlighted the cell in red at the beginning of the line, and now I'm emailing it.
That's exactly what I was told.
Are you gonna use yours for the projector?
No, that's gonna be.
And here is
He has two side
here
by
is
side.
the projector cord.
So I use this to make edits.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good.
You
All
need
right.
to read it.
Let's just.
Well, chilly in here.
Yeah.
It's getting chillier. I just feel like I need to walk outside.
Yeah.
That's what I think I was
Helps
gonna
out.
do
One
here.
for projection
Okay, I
and
adjusted
one
it a
for
little.
working. Great.
Wow, the center.
All right, and we got.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the same thing.
Okay, all right, I think I'm, let me just pop this guy out and then I'll get out of here.
You are good. It's good to be back, part of the team.
Well, we're glad to be that.
So how was that week?
Oh, just exhausting because of, you know, so much of the legislation is just like, doesn't make sense.
No, I did.
Well, it does that time of year.
On my thumb drive
Sorry.
here. I printed out a couple, but I didn't print.
I don't know if I got the ones you said previous, I just didn't.
That's it, I said five, that's all I got.
All five of them online?
I believe they're all in one, and I don't think I've made any real changes since then, so he, that's right, he.
in when we not.
That should be allowed.
Maybe,
I don't like
maybe.
it.
Maybe.
You had to be, you guys walked in without me.
Yeah, I was like, didn't we come in that day? And that, I'm telling you, I'm losing track of what day it is.
We're back on the first week. Students are back the following. Yeah, I think the students start on Thursday, that first week.
Like the sixth?
Yeah.
Really?
Of August?
That's ridiculous.
Now, do you all take longer, like
You know what?
Thanksgiving and stuff, because of the base?
We take full weeks, we take like 2 weeks. of
Because
Christmas and
you're at the
full
military.
week. And we've just started doing that because attendance is so horrible.
I can see that being near a
Everybody
military
drives,
base.
You know, they drive 6-8 hours or 12 hours to get home.
Mm-hmm.
They take the rest of the week,
I can-
every single
right.
time. So
I
if
can
you don't give them the week, they're gonna take it, and you're gonna have an 80%
Right.
increase. And that's
And you don't get your
devastating.
money anyway.
Well,
Right.
Personally, as
much as I complain about starting in August, one would think I would not be this way. I think we need to have year-round school.
I've never been one for that, but
I think
I tell you, as soon as I retire, I can do it. Sorry for me.
6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, all year. Boom. A little longer in the summer months.
I think it's brilliant. It makes
So
it
you're
go
gonna
for
pay
teachers.
teachers more?
Oh, you got to
That's
pay.
the only way it would happen.
Yeah, that
Oh,
would be
you got to
fine.
think about the.
Because now you pay them for 9 months.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to pay them for 12 months or for
Yeah, you're
11
talking-
months.
I'm talking
because-
But then you have,
But they can't get
No.
another job in
No.
2 weeks.
Well,
in
that's
between.
fine. I mean, if that's the deal, that's fine.
but it won't
Yeah, yeah.
happen because
And it's
of
also
funding.
your, not just funding, but then you've also got to talk
We're
about teachers
already
going
paying a
back
lot of them
for
more to teach summer school. What difference is it make?
No,
But they couldn't do summer
I've
school.
got
They
9 summer school teachers. We've got 40.
You pay them extra to
Just
teach
40.
summer school.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Right, so are you gonna increase all the teachers?
No.
We would have to increase
Oh,
all
I
the
get
teachers'
that.
salaries.
I'm not saying we shouldn't.
Right,
I just,
but that's gonna be an
it'd be an issue.
extra cost.
It'd be an issue.
Yeah, that's where the deterrent comes in.
Right.
Because you've got busing, you have,
Everything.
yeah, it's just, I'm not in disagreement, I'm just saying, it's not as easy to do that.
I think as far
Yeah.
as
Well,
the
you probably also
achievement
want to see come up
students
with
and
these
what
teachers.
students, that's the way we should go.
For the
And I look at
community.
things
That's a good point too, and that's why I had not thought of Larry.
we
That's
can't
my
take
biggest thing.
vacation.
Don't do it.
Right.
We can't, it's hard for us to take the summer.
Right.
Por favor.
You know, it's like, it could be, and I told my kids out of school to go on vacations in January, because that was the best time for us.
Right.
Couldn't help it.
You know, Mary made a good point, though, for teachers to do continuing ed, a lot of them do it in the summer.
Oh, right.
I've never thought of that.
But I also know that there are a lot of districts that do year-round school, and the
But how do
teachers
they handle
manage.
it? Well, how do they, I mean, how is that, all night?
I don't know how they do it, but the teachers do it, and they manage it.
I'm curious how they would
Okay,
handle
that's
it.
what I need, yeah.
Because
I'm not a
what
teacher,
you
but
have to do is,
everyone was
all those
just-
teachers have to go do anything online. And I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of online.
I'm just saying that they manage to,
Well,
it
because
would be
that's the only way
interesting
you
to
could.
study
That's
their
why, one reason
concepts.
why I don't like the idea.
And
Is
that's
because of that.
And I have
one
lots of teacher friends that feel the same, and I have some that
And so they
think it's a great idea, you know, kind of on the
I decided
all the-
what grade.
When I say it to most parents, I
They could have
get,
chosen.
oh,
As far as
what about
like-
the parents? What about the
Last year,
They were,
Oh,
they're
I
managers.
don't want to sit.
Oh,
here.
no.
I think
To me,
it's- I think it's easier on the
they
parents.
argue.
Where they are here, because that's. gonna
They would
be
have to make
another
arrangements
2 or
all
3
year.
or 4
Yeah, they make
days
arrangements
in
for all
order to
summer.
figure that
What's the
out.
difference if you're
And
making
I'm
12 weeks of
assuming that the
arrangements for a
people who
3-month
are
time period, or 12 weeks of
You're talking
arrangements
about in
for the whole
regards
year?
to daycare.
So knowledge.
Yeah, daycare and
about
I just didn't hear
whether
that.
that should be.
Well, it's not said to be daycare providers, because daycare providers hire additional staff for their, for those
But
programs.
they hire
Oh,
on,
okay.
they'll hire on,
I see.
You'd have to hire them for 2
This
weeks at a time.
document is
It's
based
difficult,
on
because
this
I own a daycare
research
center for
and on
several
everything
years.
that came from here.
And
Part of
having
it-
staff and running external programs.
But you have like a law district, rather than building more
Because
buildings, you have a system.
They decided what grade level,
Well,
they
okay.
1 or 2.
But they have a system, they've got 4,
Gotcha, and that's.
they're
that's the
rotating
only
in,
part
at any
that's
given
in
time,
GS
some
that's
parts of the
different
population
from
is
it.
on break.
Yep.
Yeah,
What's
that
that?
helps a lot. Crazy stuff.
See, I don't know how that would work out for
In
rural.
St. Charles?
That's one of the top schools in Missouri, Clayton,
Did you get our
Hill and
email?
Princess Howell.
Okay.
I just know lots of districts do it, and I see a lot of benefits from
I'm
the
hoping I
student's
didn't miss
perspective.
a
I see
word.
positives and negatives on both sides.
And I know some costs would go up, but some costs would not go up.
Oh, sorry, that's, you'd have to do a really in-depth analysis of all those variables.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because when you're talking facility costs too, because when you run your air conditioning all summer.
Now, that would be,
Where you don't run it when you're not in school, there's a huge cost.
and that's a huge deal in our area.
And
For
you-
example,
They keep starting earlier and
I know, but the school you and I.
That's what I'm saying, they're running it anyway.
The school you and I grew up in
They're running it anyway.
still doesn't have air conditioning.
We work 10-hour days, 4 days a week in the summer, so they don't run the air on Friday, Saturday, and
You're 12
Sunday
months, too?
to supposedly,
No,
yeah,
no,
12
no.
months,
Right.
supposedly save money.
Huh.
Where's
So
school?
we work
Where's
4 10s.
Lexington, I just went to a 4-day school week.
Now, they don't do it during school
Somebody
year.
told me
Well,
they
they
were
did
looking
this
at
during the school year.
Springfield.
I heard that during the school year.
Somebody told me they were looking
They
at
went to 4 days.
Lots of people.
That's transportation.
It's the transportation budget.
Yeah.
Transportation budget.
I'm telling you, when I have to work 10 hours
Well, that's why,
straight,
that's
I
why
get
Lexington went to
brain
the 4 days.
And by the time I get
pushback
home,
though from parents who
I am
say,
so exhausted
my
that I can't do
Well, they need to
anything
contact the
that I
legislature,
want to do.
because it's
So
100%,
Friday
right,
is
because
literally
the
my
transportation
paycheck
we
day
cut,
for
we
everything
already
that
cut
I
it.
do.
You don't
Well, they
get
didn't cut it.
I don't get it appreciate weekends.
Yeah. It's terrible.
They just haven't used it.
Terrible.
There's pros and cons
It's
to
hard to
it.
get
There's
from
pros
the
and cons to
$1.85.
every
Well,
and I
and I
think
think
it's
you're
a
gonna
solid
find
good
money
answer
for
for it,
everything
and I think
that
that
we
what
I can't remember how many
one
miles
person,
this
or
road is.
one, it's
It's
crazy,
crazy.
it's
It's
all
all
moving
around.
opposite,
Yeah.
just like Gary said, that the teachers.
That's the way
and
all the alternate Oregon County are that way too.
They could manage, so it would be more of a challenge. for-
Because we have a school that does all your school.
Yeah,
in
we
Springfield.
have a store there. We have
Okay.
a private store there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what?
And they're on a different, they're on a different.
What's Sense of Pride?
Sense of Pride is.
Oh, it's amazing.
Primarily
Tell
a
me.
local organization in Springfield. I work for it. It's a nonprofit. And we started out, originally it was a relationship between, we've got, how many elementary schools do we have? 25.
We have 37 altogether, but do you have 25 stores?
No, we have 12 stores.
Okay, there's
But
37
we're only in
elementary.
Title I schools. And the Title I schools in Springfield, most of them have over 70% career response rate.
Right.
It originally started out in 2010 as a collaboration between one of the non-Title I schools and a Title I school. And they set up a store, which most teachers have a store concept where they earn points or something, you know, for rewards in their classroom. It's a positive reward system. And, but the kids actually earn behavior bucks for going, for attending school, for showing up, for good behavior, for really, and we let each school kind of customize and tweak for what they think their biggest needs are. Once a month or twice a month, depending on the school, they can go down to the Pride store. And we
Which
have
is located
In the
wherever
library.
wherever the
wants
school
it.
can find
in the
it.
school building.
In the school building, ideally, yes. They can purchase clothing items, they can purchase food, shelf-stable food, hygiene. They can purchase, we have fun things,
It's
we have toys
donated,
and games.
it's all
and
donated stuff.
It's all donated stuff, or if we get,
Just
one
makes
year
it-
we got a grant from Collective Brands, which owns Payless, we got a $6,000 grant, and it came in the in the way of $20 vouchers, so I was able to go buy
Yep.
shoes and disperse them to
So
the 12
these kids
stores.
will go down there and it is so, it breaks
Have
your
you
heart.
seen one?
Oh,
Have
I've
you seen one
seen
in
it.
action?
It breaks your heart. The kids will go down there and say, I would love to have this toy, but my brother needs a new pair of shoes.
And they'll buy the
he will
shoes.
buy the
Oh, yeah.
shoes.
Or they'll buy
his
food for
brother.
the family.
They'll buy
It's
toothpaste.
amazing.
Toothbrushes. But you know
Yeah.
what some of the schools are doing? Weller has started using it with their parents. If
Yeah,
the
we've got
parent comes in
we've got
and
3 family
volunteers,
pride
they
stores,
get
and
bucks
they can
to
earn
go
family pride bucks.
use in the
Yeah, we
pride
started
store,
that
so
a
the
few years
parents
ago.
can use
Sarah,
it
do you have
too.
anything like that?
Yeah, we have a family store, where, I mean, it's got, you know, so about 2,000 of our kids per year are homeless.
Yeah.
So our family store is kind of geared heavily to that population, so there's toiletries, there's underwear, socks, uniforms for the kids who have, you
How
know,
do
go to
they
school
get
with
their,
uniforms.
they get their bucks the same way as like the behavior, attendance?
I can't remember. When we first opened it, they had some
I've never heard
elaborate
of it.
system, but I.
Our website is Sense with money,
Can you show me like a link?
We don't require money,
Like
we
a-
don't require anything.
information.
Kids are homeless, or kids are in high school, or anybody
I've got-
who needs
I've got
something.
brochures.
They come
They
to our
give
school,
them
we have
extra time at
mattresses,
Christmas.
we
They
have
buy gifts for
food,
the
the
family.
The school that I've been in for the last 5 years,
We have a room.
I've got new volunteers now, so I can get out and focus on, because I've worked.
Yes,
organizations
exactly.
and director of
If you have them,
operations, if you
or
will.
exactly.
And
That's
and
ours
ours
is,
is,
but it's in a warehouse
Draw a
for
picture.
the whole community to come to our school.
I'll give you the
So
website,
kids-
Sense of
because
Pride
kids in high school
Schools.org, C with money.
They don't have-
NTS.
They don't have money to buy yogurt. They don't.
We have a
They don't have
program
cards.
that a gentleman in our school, it's called
Sense of
Heads for
Pride.
Kids.
Yes.
That
Like
he's,
shoes for 'em.
yes, it's all
You
about
give us
shoes in
the
our
$5
school.
one shoe on
Right.
she gets a whole
School.
We take them down into our locally owned.
Right there.
And there's.
And Charlotte Brown, so we can start the fifth grade.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of
LS1C, fifth
I really
grade.
am.
I'm sorry.
We use a lot more
We've
money.
got-
but
I
it's
said it
better.
backwards.
It is.
Yeah, we've got the 12 stores in Springfield.
Yeah, just like
And we've
that.
got, now we've expanded, we've got, churches that sponsor the schools, we've got businesses that sponsor some of the schools, so it's not just a school and school relationship anymore. We've got charters in Bradleyville, which is a farming community, and they're a K-12 district, very small. We've got a charter at Branson High School. We have a charter at the Boys and Girls Club in Branson, and which encompasses Reed Springs, Forsyth, and Branson. And we also have a charter in Warrenton, Missouri.
This is a great website.
Thank you.
And I make websites for a living, so it's legitimately a great website.
Thank you. Have you heard of Noble Communications in Springfield? They helped us with that.
Good job.
Okay, we ready?
Yes.
Okay. First box is the DCI. Second box is the NGSS standard. The three boxes, the next three boxes are the ones we already had. So what do we need to delete, change, revise, or add?
I do not think we need cell D.
Okay?
I agree. It's the same as the first one.
Okay.
Well-
Kindergarten.
Yeah.
But this is the actual transport. I mean, that's saying through the route.
No, they're saying D.
Oh, D. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, D goes.
Right, that,
Not
by
D,
fifth
D.
grade, that should be.
They should know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but now we need to, address our misconception also in
Yes.
this. I think, even if we address it in the storyline,
Yeah, that's what
I
it
think
says.
we have to,
Included in the air is
Somehow-
oxygen, carbon dioxide.
or maybe even put in parentheses, not soil. I don't know, like on B.
Yeah.
Just so they understand
That's
that.
not a
point.
bad idea.
Just a little parentheses,
Unless-
not soil.
On which one?
On B.
Oh, okay, I'm off.
There's a
of
typo
cell,
in
that makes
B.
sense to me now.
Eric, can you delete D?
The one that's highlighted.
It's up and read all of them.
And then there's a typo in cell
Yeah.
23B. You can leave nads if you want, but.
Yeah. No, I do that like
I think we're not there yet.
I can just still leave,
I ain't even touching it.
Oh, you missed the tail comment yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Where's
They lost their mind.
This
You
is-
know,
this
I'm really glad there are two more males.
Remember, it's all online. You can go back and do it again.
I did nothing wrong.
We just all went there.
They all went there, but mine was innocent.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Good try.
Okay. Okay, so do we like the idea of just putting not soil at the end of that statement, or is that not correct?
I think that's good.
Or maybe we address it in the
Are
storyline.
you talking about B?
Well, I just thought it would be important as a little
Yeah.
note in the standard for the,
Because
They very
someone,
well teach it.
what we're reading here is not soil.
Right, right.
Yeah.
because someone may not take time to read the storyline and then they miss the point.
Or by the time they read it at the beginning of the year, and by the time they get to this,
And then maybe they'll read the standard and go, why did they include that? Maybe I need to go do more reading.
I think that's a good idea.
I do too, I agree with that.
Should we, because this is fifth grade, should we address or add something with the air situation that carbon is, should we?
that the
somehow-
carbon comes
From the air,
Right.
and that's a really key component? Because you were
Because
mentioning.
I guess that would be the storyline.
I don't know that we're there yet,
Okay.
that the fifth grader would know it's oxygen and carbon dioxide. They
Okay.
need to know it's not soil,
Okay.
it's air and water.
Okay, okay.
And that it is
And that's something, again, like I said, overlap. When you get to physical science, if you start talking about the conservation of matter and energy, you kind of address that. So hopefully this just helps.
Right.
I'm even wondering, should we put not soil instead of not chiefly from soil? Because they get not
They
soil.
already have the word chiefly in there.
Not soil.
chiefly
You don't need
from
soil.
air and water.
I mean,
Not-
how about
not from soil.
So none of the matter comes from soil.
Correct.
Some, well,
That's why I put it
some,
on.
I
That's
think
why I
some
put
does phosphorus.
That's why I said.
Phosphorus.
That's why I said.
Phosphorus is not carbon.
The
Some
carbon.
of
No,
the
no,
matter.
no, but that's not, it's not saying where it gets its carbon from, it's saying where it gets its material
Matter.
for growth. That's why I added not chiefly from soil, because I thought some of the
Yeah,
matter
you're
it uses
probably
comes from
right.
soil. It's just that's not the chief source.
But the word chiefly is already in there, so we didn't need it the second time. Chiefly from air and water,
Oh.
parentheses, not from soil.
Yeah, get rid of cheap.
But the problem is, if you say not
That's,
from
You
soil,
can't say cheap anything.
I'm afraid they'll think it
But
means
get one-
nothing.
But get
Okay.
one,
Use a
rid of
synonym
one
then.
chiefly or change, yes, get your thesaurus out.
Not primarily from
There
soil.
you go.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. From air, nads, water, and primarily soil.
Yes.
How old is everybody?
It's gonna get uncomfortable. Guys are cruising for a bruise.
You know, we're all starting to get really comfortable with each
Yeah.
other.
God,
Well, I think we're
that
gonna
is.
get
Aaron will moderate our debate too.
See.
Okay, so on the last standard up there,
Okay, so do we not need C now?
Well,
no, we need
We
to.
need C.
Okay, how is
These
C
are
different?
accessory.
How is C different from B? Oh,
Let's
support
get
argument,
that.
got it, that's the
It's
B six.
in that yellow.
Got it, now it makes sense.
Okay. Now, on Massachusetts, I kind of like the way Massachusetts has cell 23D worded.
Okay.
Oh, and it went away. Damn it, gummit.
greenish yellow. It's yellow when you turn it that
It's
way.
yellow, yeah.
Depends on the angle.
Let me get there, I apologize.
You just have to hold it at the right angle. It has to look green. It's green
Yeah,
to
wait
me.
for it.
Okay.
Oh my
It's getting more yellow.
Wait.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I said it
no,
like
it's
every
not.
time.
Yeah, mine doesn't do
Is
that.
the dress blue and black or white and gold?
That one was too easy for me. That was taking me pictures. That was
One moment,
that is
How about-
because it's like
I
that.
want to give
How
you
about-
like, oh, it's actually
Okay.
cheaper.
How about putting in parentheses, this is the carbon cycle, so that we can emphasize that we're talking 100%.
Ooh, that'd be a nice little byline here. Just, I know.
I mean,
Are we talking carbon cycle and
Well, I mean, you know.
You talk about for D?
I don't know, I mean, we mentioned it a minute ago, but I think we're talking.
I think it's too much.
Okay.
Okay, this is
And
the
then
one
I
thing.
think teachers will try to teach the carbon cycle,
Okay.
and that's not, this is just a,
Okay, I just want to add
Those
this.
teachers, I'm feeling right now.
I mean, I don't want to add it there, I just want to talk about it.
Unless you spell it out, that's not gonna happen.
Massachusetts says, for, similar to what we have for 23B, describe how energy derived from the sun is used by plants to produce sugars photosynthesis. And
what grade?
For what grade?
Fifth grade. And is
I kind
transferred.
of like that.
Can you read it again?
Describe how energy derived from the sun is used by plants to produce sugars, and then it has parentheses photosynthesis. But then it continues, and is transferred within a food chain from producers to consumers to decomposers. So I'm not saying we would have that part.
I
But
think
we
that,
don't even mention photosynthesis as one of the primary functions of sunlight and energy transfer on 23D.
On
D, I like that for D.
All right, so I have a few questions about this. One, do we mention photosynthesis anywhere before that?
We shouldn't,
no.
We shouldn't. Why not?
because it's too complex.
And
Okay,
because then there's
so,
a misconception about what it is.
okay, so great. If we're not mentioning
Right.
photosynthesis, why are we mentioning sugars?
No, we are mentioning photosynthesis here.
Sugar, yeah, it's about sugar. She
That's
said
why
sugar.
photosynthesis.
No, that's what I'm
does.
saying, the photosynthesis produces sugar.
I understand that, but if we're not going to get into photosynthesis, why?
I thought we
It
were.
is. In fifth grade, it's the first time. This is the
Yeah,
first
so
time.
we are gonna mention that here.
I think we should.
Right, it's not mentioned before here.
Do you want to hear
How
what
about
Carol
this?
says?
How about this?
It's
Identify sunlight as the primary source of energy for photosynthesis.
I like it.
And in parentheses maybe, in which, or the process by which
Or comma.
plants.
Produce their own food.
Right, but I think one problem with the way it's said right now is that it sounds like energy produces sugar, which
Right.
is wrong.
Right.
Here's
Sunlight
what-
doesn't produce sugar.
Right.
Sunlight helps you take the carbon dioxide and the water, put them together and make
For
sugar.
the process.
Well, sunlight provides the energy.
Which
That's
we
what I'm
can
saying,
discuss,
but the
yeah.
material is the material.
Yeah, she is a good
It's
one.
not sunlight.
Yeah.
California just simply says, it's got a bunch of other things about the structure of plants before that. But for this specific thing, students know plants use carbon dioxide and energy from sunlight, they do not mention water, to build molecules of sugar and release oxygen.
Oh, I like that.
I like it a lot too.
And don't even use the word photosynthesis.
I like
love
it.
that a
I mean, we
lot.
could still say.
No,
this
no, I said
process
don't
is
use
called-
photosynthesis.
I like it. I like that.
Because there's so much baggage attached to that word, and if a kid knows ahead of time, that statement, when they
So
get
that's
into
the
school,
scaffolding
that's the
for the letter
scaffolding
copy.
for
And that's-
photosynthesis.
I like
Because
that.
otherwise they have this
Right.
freaking,
Yeah,
I think so.
Oh, run that by me, please.
Students know plants use carbon dioxide and energy from sunlight to build molecules of sugar and release oxygen. I think we would need water. Add water.
I think we add water.
Yeah, because that's where the hydrogen comes from.
Okay, so, what's it say now?
You just add one
Plants
phrase.
use carbon dioxide,
And water.
CO2, and water and energy from sunlight to build molecules of sugar and release oxygen.
Yes, I like it lots. It's good. It is good.
Then now their next statement says, which we're not doing this, you said, plant and animal cells break down sugar to obtain energy, a process resulting in carbon dioxide and water.
So, this is what you're saying?
That's the flip side of it, yeah.
I like that part, but I understand not putting it in there. I do like it.
I think we could put that part in there,
I do
Yeah.
like
if we
it.
want to.
And I like.
I mean, it's a separate-
photosynthesis.
I do
Fine.
like
It's
it.
an E and an F, you know, it's a.
Okay.
But I think if we're really trying to make sure we're clarifying this misconception,
Right.
I think that
I think
nails
what
it.
Next Gen did, just saying, you know. I
But you
think
know
it wasn't
what?
far enough.
The way Next Gen left out the background knowledge, because support an argument that plants get the materials they need. What materials?
Right.
This way, with those two
Mhm.
statements being taught before that, the students have specific materials that they can use to support that. We need to move the green box over.
Do you want to
I
add?
want to add the other one,
Okay.
I think.
So you're saying materials they need,
That was the flip side.
air, carbon dioxide, water, sunlight.
Can you type this while I'm saying it, and then if we don't like it, we'll edit it?
Yeah, that's good.
Plant and animal cells break down sugar to obtain energy, a process resulting in carbon dioxide and water.
So the problem with that is, it does not necessarily go here, but if I were teaching it, I would teach it here.
It's a nice.
So I think we leave it here for now and see what they say in the energy, in the ecosystem part when we talk about food webs.
We're not making it a. We're
It's not
we're
assessed.
Yeah, we're not assessing this.
Right.
This is just knowledge. Essentially, we are describing the carbon cycle in
Right.
the full cycle
Right.
without
Without
saying
the
that that's what we do.
We're not doing the whole cycle.
Well,
And that
no.
could
Because decomposition would
That
then
could
be the
eventually
whole
get over
cycle. Yeah,
in
so
the
we're
last
a
column
portion of it.
of teaching information and
Yeah.
helpful hints. Eventually that could maybe be someplace else.
So my question is, I feel really good about the concept and big ideas that we're doing here. I really see E as a fluff. I don't think,
Are we already doing that? Because
I think
that's
we are with the
important.
organs and structures and functions that we did before.
Yes.
Because the nutrients, the structures, the roots, and the stems are what transports it, so that's what you're gonna talk about.
That's
So to
earlier
me,
grade,
this
so that's
is-
where you're gonna be.
I was saying,
That seems
let's say
very
earlier
low level.
grades. Yeah, in the context of what we're doing here, E seems
You
like
gotta,
something
you
should have
gotta
already
teach that at
happened.
some point.
I
It
think
did already
Yes,
happen.
that we did.
Where
It's
is
under
it?
structure
Part of
and
the model.
function.
Okay.
It's on,
So we can,
In life,
so we
in
can.
life science?
So it's already someplace else? We can
here's
just-
what it says, hang on, let me find it. Identify the major organs and their functions in vascular plants. Well,
What grade level is it?
But that's
Third.
not tracing,
so if we wanted to, we could take that back to that.
well, here's where,
No, we didn't put it at third, it's been changed.
I don't see any third.
Wait, why is it still there?
Still where?
This is just me. If you truly do this, this gets more complicated than it seems.
Early on, it's really not as complicated. That's one of the ones where you, I mean, there's lots of simple ways of showing it and doing it. Like with the celery. That's the beginning, very beginning is the celery and the,
That you
and
made
the,
it.
so that's what I'm saying, are we
carnation.
already doing this
Just-
in
just
second
capillary
grade or
control.
wherever we're doing
Yeah,
it?
capillary.
Where
I was saying,
are
but
we
I
talking
wanna make
about
sure we-
structure and function?
I think it's first or second grade, isn't it?
We need to go back to structure and function.
I'm not seeing it, but
Identify the
See,
relationships
I-
between
I
the
don't see
physical
those
structures
there.
of plants and the functions of those structures. So it's LS1A first.
There's nothing in Massachusetts about,
okay, it's
that
first
before
grade.
the-
It's cell 5. Or it's line 5, right? Identify the relationship
Yes.
between physical structures and animal functions. Taking water, support movement, obtaining food, and reproduction. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
They're not tracing the nutrients, but they're gonna say that the stem transports water from the root. The roots absorb water from the soil. The stem transports the water to the leaves.
You're describing the role of each
Yeah.
structure, but
Right.
you're not saying that anywhere. Is that what it says on there? Illustrate, trace the path?
Illustrate through the path
They do
of
not
the water
have
and
to
nutrient.
trace the path in the previous standard. We're asking them to trace the path now. My question is that really what we want kids to know and be able to do? I would rather them know and be able to do the carbon component that we have here at 5th grade. I don't know that tracing, honestly, focusing on pulling stuff out of soil is gonna help feed the misconception that plants need soil in order to do it, rather than.
Right, I don't
help
like that
that.
as
So
worded anyway.
I'm recommending we get rid of that
And if
one.
they've, like Perry said, if they've done, or whoever with the carnation or the
Yeah,
celery, if they've already
they
done
know
that,
that
and
And
they've
show
seen
that
that
that's
visual,
what they do.
and
Yeah, I just don't like the wording of it at all anyway.
So now I'm worried because at LS1A, we have a 3rd grade standard there, and I don't think we should. Did I not get rid of that?
LS1.
I don't have one at third grade that I'm looking at.
In LS1A,
No, ma'am, I don't.
at 3rd grade?
Uh-huh.
Good, then I must have an old.
Because that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
you highlighted on the left, the
It's
third
LS1B.
and fourth in red.
Okay, and we got rid of it? Okay, but you haven't made those updates yet, right, Eric?
I
Because I
just,
just sent them to you. Yeah.
I just opened it. I'm not sure.
That's what I,
You tell me, so I'm working,
see, I don't see that
What are
one.
you working
I'm
from?
working from the one that has the red on
Oh, and is it in Google Doc?
it. Yes.
Oh, and what's it
Something
called?
different.
Sorted by grade, mixed.
That's wrong.
Mixed, sorted by grade?
Yes. Sorted by grade, mixed in parentheses, right?
Oh, okay.
Is that the last
That's
one
not one I
yesterday?
got then.
It's the last one I did yesterday plus the update.
Yeah.
And the
That's what I
name of
got.
it
Yeah.
is,
It's now, I gotta find it.
okay, I gotta find
Derek, were there a
it.
lot of people in the audience yesterday?
There's about 150.
Was your panel good?
They were sharp.
Good.
The panel was very
Were they?
sharp.
Yay.
Yeah, they came, well, and I told them, it's like, folks, I'm just gonna, just come out the box swinging hard, and I'm gonna expect you all to, have the wisdom to, jump in there and say what needs to be said at the right times. And that's exactly how it worked out. I would do some stuff to really, create challenge and make people think about stuff, and get the audience involved, and then I'd take the time out from the audience, like, panel, what are your reflections on all this stuff? And so just kind of kept going back and forth.
That's great. Did you perceive that it was well received at the end? Everyone grew from that experience. That's great.
Well, at least high school was literally relayed to me. My students came up. Like I said, there was one who came up and said, I've never left a conversation. White student came up and said, I've never left a conversation on race, feeling excited about issues about race.
Right, because many times it's accusatory.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Defensive and.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we getting rid of that? We're keeping it.
Illustrate trace.
How are we feeling about illustrating trace?
I'm good with letting go of it.
And that's not sending a positive message to
Oh, it was-
people you're trying to.
it was
do.
horrible.
I thought
That
Julie was
speaks to the
favorite
moderator.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
You're good, Julian?
She doesn't
Okay.
want to build Star Trek.
Yeah.
We're not gonna trace the path, are we?
Oh, we're getting rid of it, that's what we were doing.
Are we good with that?
Yes.
Eric.
Can we, next box,
Delete E28. 23E.
So we don't like tracing.
Yep,
I think we're already we're addressing that soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Where does that
we're getting rid of it.
live? Where does
Right now,
First
we're
grade.
thinking that the students need to relate structure and function rather than tracing. And we feel like they're relating structure and function back in LS1A first grade and a little bit in fourth grade.
So how do you feel about the new E, plant and animal cells?
Well, now we need to wordsmith that. There's definitely some problems with that statement.
Break
Yeah.
down sugars to obtain.
Plant and animal cells, right?
Right?
With capitalize, with pluralize plant.
Oh, yep.
What?
Plant and animal.
Plant is not
Plant and
plural.
animal
Right.
cells.
Cells is plural. So brain chemistry. And I think instead of a process resulting in carbon, maybe a process that,
Produces?
or not emits, but the word emits, but we gotta make it nicer, emits. Releases. Releases
The
carbon
process
dioxide and water.
That releases,
Which releases?
which
Yeah.
releases.
Process which
And the process releasing.
Stop doing that.
I'm eating so many of these. I'm like,
Clementines.
you should not set me by the food.
I can't start clementines. I'll start clementine and it'll be over.
In here? Is that good?
Or clementines are cuties, whatever.
Well, that makes me happy I brought those, because they're sitting on my cabinet, and I'm like, I need to get rid of these.
Okay, so I think we should
I hate my fruit,
do
I've been one gone.
D.
Oh,
I think we should flip flop D and C.
You say it again, swap B and C?
Flip flop D and C.
What?
Flip flop D and C.
As far as the hierarchy of,
Yes.
yes. We're trying to put them in order of difficulty or
Oh,
something.
gotcha. I thought you were.
I know that's not the right term.
Right.
The order of higher order thinking.
Oh, no.
Hierarchy.
I was like, didn't make any sense. Like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
But then you've got
those
C and E
two-
divided.
yeah, C and E have to be.
But E is enrichment. E's above and beyond.
Oh.
Because they're not talking about E.
Well, not really, because
It's really the
that's
flip side
where
of
the
C.
carbon dioxide comes from.
Yeah, and it says what are they doing with the
What?
sugar?
Okay, read D. Okay? Now, that carbon dioxide that's in the air, where does it come from?
Comes from the air.
But how does it get in the
There's
air?
carbon dioxide without respiration occurring in the air. So yeah, it does, but it's not, it's there.
But I'm just saying,
Well, it's sugar too. I mean, the C and E really kind of go
Here's the
together.
deal, C and E go together, but we don't need E to do our assessment.
Okay.
E is above and beyond
I love all this, though.
what we need to do. So I don't want teachers, you could almost do your assessment and then come back in and say, okay, now we take these products that plants use to do this, and this is what happens to them. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see. But I'm also thinking, okay, if I'm a teacher and I'm gonna teach the carbon dioxide and water,
I don't know that you want to teach the whole cycle at once. It's kind of like longitude and latitude. I'm almost wondering if you teach the front part of how, because one of the misconceptions is that plants don't do respiration. And both plants and animals do respiration.
It's like when I learned the Krebs cycle, the first time they tried to teach it to me all at one time. My brain.
I don't know. That's just opinion. We can switch it.
No, that's fine. I get it.
Do we need to add that to our misconception list? Plants don't respirate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, certainly. And I think Bob's got another great story.
There's some misconceptions that.
I say, yeah,
Plants,
we
yeah.
put them underwater and show how they produce. I feel like, wait a minute, something is skewed.
Now, one thing missing from E right now, it says that to break down the sugar to obtain energy, but the material stays put, and some of it goes into the growth of the organism.
Yeah, not all of the sugar.
You know what? We need to not say obtain. We need to say release.
That's what we did.
Not at the top.
Well, it's transformed, right?
Then you can say transform, but obtain makes it sound like energy,
Like it creates.
conservation
You're
of
right,
energy.
you're right, I
is
agree
not
with
there.
that. So it's never obtained, it's transformed.
No,
It's always
transforms.
transformed from chemical to. But it's also, the material doesn't go away. The sugar,
No.
the HCONs, that they don't go away.
They
produce.
Reform, and that's part of it goes to waste, part of it goes to muscle and bone, and right, all that stuff. And I'm just saying, that's not in there.
That's not, transforming's not right either. It's releasing. And I know we don't want to use releasing twice, but it's releasing.
Well, let's think of another
Well,
word.
It's transforming.
It does not.
Of course it's right, transforming is right.
We're not transforming sugar into energy. We're breaking in chemical bonds that's releasing energy.
But that's
Transforming
transformation.
sugar into carbon dioxide and water.
It used to be chemical potential energy, and now it's a different form.
But
That's
you can't
transforming.
say transforming.
Sure you can.
Not that way, not the way you have it worded.
I disagree. I think it's right. I think it's right.
I'm not transforming energy. Read what's before transforming. I'm saying sugar is transforming into
Oh,
energy.
okay.
It's not. Sugar is changing to carbon dioxide and water, and energy is being released.
Released in the process.
Yes. It's not transforming sugar to energy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, hold on. So, what's the sugar made of?
Hydrogen, carbon.
C6H12O6.
Right.
Right.
When
And that
the
is
bonds
being
are
transformed,
broken
and that is being transformed
into
into
carbon dioxide and water.
dioxide and water.
Releasing
And other stuff.
and other stuff.
And muscle mass and, right?
What?
The material it goes into the body or it goes into the plant.
What material?
Everything from the sugar, right?
C6H12O6.
Right.
Yeah.
Forms
So,
carbon dioxide and water.
But not just that.
No, just that. The chemical reaction is C6H12O6.
So
The
then,
reaction changes from
So now
C6H12O6 to CO2 plus H2O.
Now you just said that the people in the private universe are wrong. Because the matter that made the tree comes from the air. Where did it go if it goes back to the air? Something in that sugar has to go
Something
into
stay
the material of the plant. Something has to go into the mass of the plant. What is it? Respiration or
Then it's another chemical reaction.
combustion
Yes.
is not perfect.
It's another chemical
Combustion
reaction.
is not perfect. You don't just make carbon dioxide and water. Just like you don't just take carbon
here we
dioxide
go with the
and
Krebs cycle. It's coming.
Right.
It's coming.
But it's not just, I mean,
So how do you want to say that to a fifth grader?
People don't, that's why it's.
I was 21 before I met you.
Right. I'm
That's
just,
a monster misconception.
We're not transforming sugar into energy.
I
That's all
agree,
I'm going to say.
that's what I was saying.
Yes, I agree. It is resulting in the release of.
But the energy is transformed. is transformed from chemical energy into
Yes,
different
I
kinds of energy.
agree.
There
If
was
you
still
want to say
energy.
that, I'm
I
okay
agree,
with
I
that.
agree.
There was energy there, it just was not.
It was chemical potential
That's right.
energy.
It would be easier.
Right,
It would be
right.
easier to say what you said a while ago, though, resulting in release of energy.
Yeah, we've
Otherwise,
just gone to
you're
organic
more
chemistry,
complex,
which I agree is a little much.
Resulting in the release of energy. Okay, I agree with that.
because you don't want to get more complex than that. Because
I'm not sure we should put this in here.
Okay, then just delete it.
I'm wondering,
We might be opening up.
I'm thinking with.
But we
the
don't talk
amount
about
of-
respiration there. We don't talk about respiration.
Then just delete.
I don't know,
I started this because I read it in the California.
I liked it when you read it,
I
but
did
now
too.
I'm thinking, oh
I did too.
my.
I
liked it.
Well, when I start putting my
It's
head
just
into
privacy.
this from a biochemistry standpoint, it gets very complicated.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to eliminate misconceptions.
And if we could at least get the photosynthesis introduction in there, I would be
All right,
ecstatic.
Okay, delete Foxy. All in favor?
I'm in favor of deleting.
So don't you love
it.
how we work on that? Having
Yeah,
more
I know, I
complex?
like it. It's too bad, 'cause it's really the flip side of C. so-
It is, but I'm not sure they're ready to flip yet.
Okay,
I would agree with
all right.
development.
That's
I mean, if
that's where my expertise ends, so that's
You know
fine.
what I'm saying? I guess if a teacher wants to go there,
Yeah.
but I would like to, I'm afraid we will promote a misconception.
Too much.
The gifted teacher would go in there, but no one
What's the misconception?
About how energy.
Turns into stuff or stuff turns into energy.
Yeah. Remember we were talking about the conservation of matter.
Okay, so we're on LS2 what?
I don't know, do you think that that's an area where we can really?
LS2A.
We're at LSU understand.
Yes.
Just preconceived understanding.
We really want to get rid of E?
The alternative is nightmarish.
So where
I'm
do
not drawing the
they,
correct side.
so the question is, where do they get E? Is there, so this is gonna come up again? Because, that they understand C, that here's how plants create sugars. And
They don't know how plants create sugars. They're gonna understand.
But sugar is
that-
created.
That plants use carbon
To
dioxide
create sugar.
and water to increase, to grow.
But here's
That's what
the
they're
thing,
gonna do.
Eric, it's a huge can of worms when you start talking about how that sugar is then
you,
broken down.
How about this? Just throwing it out, how about in C or somewhere maybe additionally, we just say the sugar benefits the plant and things that eat the plant.
no, because kids will be like, oh, well, sugar benefits me.
Oh, yeah? Well, it does.
It does.
It does. They're supposed to eat sugar.
Thank God for the Oprah people down at the dog monster.
Throw it out.
All right,
Yeah.
fine, fine.
Yeah, that's right.
He wants to sleep again.
But I agree, I mean, it's hurting me to not bring that back around, but
But I think you will get there. I think it's just, at a fifth grade level, it's too much to do it all.
They have it in middle school in Massachusetts.
I think they need to clean it up.
well, and I
It's
told Bob,
been
we're
mooted.
They do right here
trying
in
to be
middle
so
school.
careful about the misconceptions of matter and energy, we don't want to add one.
Right.
Yeah, middle school in Massachusetts, they recognize the producers. Plants that contain chlorophyll use energy from sunlight to make sugars from carbon dioxide. And water through a process called photosynthesis, and it continues from there.
And that's sixth
And
grade?
it has, that's 6th through 8th grade span on Massachusetts. And I'm wondering if it's in our document.
Well, is this something, Bob, that we can make a note of, and when we get with the secondary group?
Yes.
We can ask them, based on what you have, is it appropriate for us to introduce this idea in 5th grade, or do you have that covered?
I think that's a great point.
And you didn't write that down, right? You're the-
Okay.
You're Janet and I was writing down the other misconception. Who, by the way, who has the list of misconceptions? I totally forgot about it.
You do.
It's in the Google Doc.
Yeah, you were the misconception man, that's one
Okay,
thing I
all
wanted
right,
to
all right. Now I have to pull them together.
Yesterday, we wrote some down for you somewhere.
Oh,
We
okay.
wrote some storyline notes down.
Well, good.
I don't have them with me, I'll have to email them to you.
Let's just don't forget.
Right.
Where are we at now, Ann?
Okay, so we are at LS2A. And in looking at LS2A, second grade, we dealt with LS2A. So second grade is solid. Third, fourth, and fifth, all of that is at fifth in the in our DCIs and NGSS. Okay? So we have to look at third, fourth, and fifth and decide what we're doing with that.
You mean Missouri third, fourth, and fifth?
No. Yes, that's what I mean.
Okay.
So, at fifth grade, this is huge, long. The food of almost any kind of animal can be traced back to plants. Organisms are related in food webs in which some animals eat plants for food and other animals eat the animals that eat plants. Some organisms, such as fungi and bacteria, break down dead organisms and therefore operate as decomposers. Decomposition eventually restores, parentheses, recycles some materials back to the soil. Organisms can survive only in environments in which their particular needs are met. A healthy ecosystem is one in which multiple species of different types are each able to meet their needs in a relatively stable web of life. Newly introduced species can damage the balance of an ecosystem. So if we look at all of those, the food of almost any kind of animal can be traced back to plants. That's kind of what we have at fifth grade now, would you say?
Yes. And that's what we have in fifth grade now.
Would you say that covers that DCI?
Yes.
It's more than that DCI,
Yeah.
but to me it includes that
I
DCI.
agree.
Okay. Then it says organisms are related in food webs in which some animals eat plants for food and other animals eat the animals that eat plants.
I do not feel like we have any type of reference to the food chain.
I don't either.
Just dump it at D, third,
It is a food chain.
and that's just, yeah, talking about removing something from the
So
food
we
chain.
can introduce.
Well,
the food
actually,
chain.
C,
And D, reference the food chain. Right, they do in third grade.
Yeah.
We don't have anything about decomposers.
no, we need to add that.
No, we do, C. Well, we don't in fifth grade. We go into producers and consumers and leave out decomposers.
So this goes back to our structure. Technically, we would be moving third, fourth, and fifth all into fifth.
Or move the one thing from fifth to fourth.
Then it wouldn't
Where
be
does it
like
appear?
is here.
Did you look at fourth grade though? There's no reference in fourth grade. Okay, I'm in. I think we need to be consistent and
I agree.
move all the way through, so move those three things from fourth grade to fifth grade.
And then, yes, I agree. I'm in
And
agreement.
the three things from third grade, the three things from fourth grade, all to fifth grade, but I don't think we need all those things.
Right, let's
I
move
think we
them.
need to wordsmith them.
I agree. Let's move them and then let's clean them up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we okay with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, you're on a phone call.
My superintendent just called me, just excuse me,
I'm gonna say it's a fine thing, there's been an accolade that's been bestowed upon
You're
you.
gonna get an award.
And you just want to be the first one to say it before you saw it in the newspaper.
That is right.
Now, can we all take hands?
Kumbaya.
Good vibes, good vibes.
How does, what we really need is a good standard about food webs.
We do.
And does anybody have one?
Well, yeah. Take a look.
Well,
See if
have
they got
California.
this.
I have
Yes,
This is what
Okay.
Massachusetts says.
Okay.
They include what we just described in the prior they do the thing about sugars in with the food chain column. So
Right.
they say, describe how energy derived from the sun is used by plants to produce sugars, photosynthesis, and is transferred within a food chain from producers to consumers to decomposers. So we
Okay.
kind of already say that. We say it 3 or 4 times in 3 or 4 grades.
We do, but we haven't said the flow.
have
We are
not
just
said the
defining
flow.
vocabulary, we're not talking about the flow in a food web. So we need to say, like what you
And that
just
doesn't
worded
look
is
like
what
it.
we need to do.
Yeah, I think so too.
The only
What
place
about-
California hits it is plants are the primary source of matter and energy entering most food chains. So they say that,
Okay, this is what I think.
and then, okay, it does say, producers and consumers, herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and decomposers are related in food chains and food webs and may compete with each other for resources in an ecosystem.
I like it a lot.
That's not bad at
I
all.
like that.
And then decomposers,
Right.
including many fungi, insects, and microorganisms, recycle matter from dead plants and animals.
What does South Carolina say?
I'm scrolling, I was in 6th grade, now I'm getting there. There's no way to search this.
Ann says she already misses you guys. I already miss you folks. Just being in River Wellness workshops, just having some fun in
I bet they're not as much fun as we are.
I'm sure they're
Is
not.
she with Bill Daggett?
Yeah, they're probably not talking about tails.
Okay, beforehand. Yeah. Text her and ask her. Hey, and all. When you look at 36B, that is so primary to what we discussed in 38B. So I don't think we need 36B.
But when we move all those down to 5th grade,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
probably
Okay.
fix that.
Eliminate.
Because we're gonna move those
Which one?
down specifically.
So Eric, did you see what she wants to do?
Food chain.
Food chain.
All of 3rd grade and all of 4th grade into one solid row by 5th grade, so we can look at them and combine
Which is in
them.
4th grade in California.
Okay.
It was in 4th grade?
Okay. And again, it does not, it's a grade span, 3rd, 4th, 5th, so we can
As
move
long
it
as
if we
we
want,
have it there.
once we get it situated.
Okay,
All right.
there's
If you
something
want-
about food chains.
Okay.
I feel,
I kind of like Beverly's.
Wait, here it is.
Is it in 4th?
Oh, wait, here's the, first of all, there's a conceptual understanding, so I'll read it first.
what grade first?
5th grade.
It says fifth.
All organisms need energy to live and grow. Energy is obtained from food. The role an organism serves in an ecosystem can be described by the way in which it gets energy. Energy is transferred within an ecosystem as organisms produce, consume, or decompose food. A healthy ecosystem is one in which diversity of life forms are able to meet their needs in a relatively stable web of life. Then the performance indicator. It's simple. Develop and use models of food chains and food webs to describe the flow of energy in an ecosystem. Prior to that, analyze and interpret data to explain how organisms obtain their energy and classify an organism as producer-consumer, and then in parentheses, herbivore, carnivore, omnivore, or decomposers, fungi, bacteria. Then they go into predator-prey, parasite-host relationships.
You know what I find interesting? NGSS's, their performance standards says develop a model to describe the movement of matter among plants, animals, decomposers, and the environment. They say nothing in their performance standard about energy. And the second DCI that it's based on talks about matter cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and microbes as these organisms live and die. Organisms obtain gases and water from the environment and release waste matter. So, to me, that performance standard is really based just on LS2B. It's not talking about food webs. It's not talking, because food web is about energy flow. It's not about matter flow.
Right.
So I think it kind of surprises me
This
that they're
is
not
where
doing
it
anything
becomes
with energy.
philosophical.
Say again, you said food web is about energy flow, not matter flow.
Right.
Doesn't the energy come in the form of matter? In the form of chemical bonds which are broken. I mean, do we get, I mean.
Right, but to me, when it says matter cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and
It's not
microbes,
discussing the energy.
I could totally just do the which to me that means it's the carbon or the oxygen cycle is what they're talking about in this matter cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and microbes. They're not talking about energy flow.
Okay.
So
Okay,
to me,
when
there's
I-
two
when I eat
components to
something,
this.
I'm getting matter, but I'm also getting energy. The
Right.
energy is packed in the matter. Right?
Right,
So
but this
I'm-
doesn't tell me, the performance standard isn't asking me to trace the energy, it's asking me to trace the matter.
And I'm saying it's the same.
It's not the same thing.
What's the difference?
The difference is matter is not energy.
Matter in chemical bonds.
Matters,
So,
yeah, with potential
is there-
energy, but
Is there
it's not
energy that comes
energy.
to me that's not in the form of food, other than radiant energy that warms my body from the earth and from the air? In other words,
Why are you excluding that?
I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. I think matter and energy, every time we say matter, we gotta say matter and energy, put them together. Never exclude, just put them together, say matter and energy. Develop a model to describe the movement of matter and energy.
But in order for students to understand this, you teach it energy and you teach energy flow and you teach cycles of matter.
How do you teach energy flow?
The trophic levels.
How do you teach energy flow?
Trophic levels. They eat and they get 10% of the energy.
So I eat food, which is matter.
Okay, I
and
totally
energy.
get what you're saying, but when you teach it,
Right,
you do not teach it together.
okay.
You split it apart into food webs, which is energy flow, and into carbon oxygen, which is matter flow.
Okay.
I do not teach it together. Nobody I know teaches it together.
Not, especially not at the elementary level.
Well, that's at high school.
Yeah,
Okay.
right, that's
I'm
what
not
I'm,
even talking middle school.
right.
So so you hold up a peanut and say, this is energy.
In environmental chemistry, we burn the peanut to find out how much energy in it. I track what you're saying.
Right, yeah.
I'm telling you, that is not gonna work here.
Okay.
How come? Because kids
No,
can't
it's okay.
conceptually understand
Yeah,
it
it's not going
at 5th grade. So I guess here's my bottom line question. I guess energy is more abstract than matter.
Yes.
I work from the school, they're equally abstract for elementary. But
So what
I
they're
can call it
saying
matter
is
right
they
now.
want food webs introduced. They want food webs introduced, but we're not assessing food webs. We're assessing cycles of matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that on the new test even?
But is that what we want to do?
I would say, yes, we want to introduce food, and we may even just want to say food chains versus food webs.
Because that's a next level of
Yes.
conversation.
And we want to introduce food chains.
Or we could say, as California does, chains and webs. I think
Yes.
by 5th grade,
Yes.
it's easy
Yes.
to see
I
that
agree.
it's not just
Yeah.
linear.
And then they
Right.
have exposure.
Right.
Only exposure to the
Right.
terms.
And we want to talk about matter cycles, which you had already brought up before. And then we want to assess the matter. Is that what you think we want to do?
Complexity wise, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so we need a food chain web standard.
Okay.
And I liked the
I
California
did
one.
too.
So will you read that so Eric can type it?
Ready? Okay, let's see. Do we want to start with another, because there are actually 3 bullets associated
Okay.
with this. So the first one is, plants are the primary source of matter and energy entering most food chains. Is that something we need to say? Or have we already said that?
Is that in the green box there, the first green box?
sequence flow of energy.
Sequence flow of energy through a
beginning
food
with
chain
sun.
beginning with the sun.
Yeah, that's it, but this is beginning with the sun, so we.
Let's just type these 3 up here and then look at
Yeah,
what we have.
that's a good idea, then
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
wordsmith.
Okay.
Okay. Plants are the primary source of matter and energy entering most food chains.
You got it.
Next, producers and consumers, parentheses, which we already have this.
Yeah, we've got
But we're
that.
gonna work
No,
with
let's
the
type
minute.
it.
Go ahead and type it, then we'll work it.
Herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and decomposers are related in food chains and food webs and may compete with each other for resources in an ecosystem. That's the meat and potatoes of it that we wanted. Then, decomposers, including many fungi, insects, and microorganisms, recycle matter from dead plants and animals. My first thought is it's not always dead plants. Here we go.
Okay, you know what, the other thing I find
Read that
interesting?
again.
Decomposers, including many fungi, insects, and microorganisms, recycle matter from dead plants and animals.
These are not standards.
No.
They do not have verbiage with
They
them.
come
Right.
statements.
Well,
They're
they all
statements.
start with students know.
Right, but that's weak.
Right,
That's not an active verb that is measurable.
that's an objective.
So I think when we're done with, when we get to the end of this, we need to decide if our background are gonna be statements or standards.
Well, I like their statement in GSS, develop a model, blah, 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 right? So
Yeah, I mean, you could easily,
No, that's a standard.
well,
the thing at the top is
It's
the
an action
standard.
verb, develop a model.
Right, that's a
That's
standard.
what I'm
that's
saying.
what we're saying, we
Their
can use,
GCIs are not.
Right.
we can use this verbiage. Example,
Exactly.
develop a model showing producers
Right.
and
That's what I'm saying.
consumers, blah, 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 blah. If we
Right,
like the way that's.
That's the output, is the.
Right.
Yes.
That's the,
Okay.
and then you say include, that the student should include the model.
I mean, we can easily say identify that decomposer, you know, if we like a particular statement, we can make it into a statement.
So to me, I like for the one we
Let's
have
do it
at
again.
fourth grade D better than B, C. Actually, C would be the standard that would go with B. Like, I would want classify the producers and consumers, in food chains and food webs. Do you see what I mean? Like, those two go
Okay,
together.
he's fixing the time, the sleeping issue.
Oh.
He's going to stop that.
No sleeping for you.
4D and 5C go together,
Yeah.
in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, if you like how D sort of lays it all out,
I do. I think I would get rid of B.
B,
5B,
you mean C or both?
5B,
B and C?
Yeah,
5B and C.
although we
No, I want to merge 5C and 4D together.
Classify populations of organisms as producers
I
and
see.
consumers. Well, wait.
Yeah.
Or
Well-
just develop, you could put classify.
What I would say is classify producers and consumers.
You can't be both.
Classify what? What's both?
Actually,
Or develop a model demonstrating.
I don't think it's the producers.
Here's the deal, we're not to the capstone yet. I don't want this,
Plans to be-
4D, we need something before the capstone, and to me, the 4D is before the capstone. Then we can develop a model.
Yeah, the capstone is the model.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
But I need something for the teacher
Right.
to help them,
You
if
gotta
he
still
sells,
do
to
it.
do it.
So we have to identify and distinguish the pieces of the
model.
the system, right?
Which addresses
Right.
that philosophical scaffolding.
That's right, you want the scaffolding, so you make the things, and you see how the things interact, and then you make a model.
No.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
And I think 38D, or I think 37D makes it easier to understand.
I do too.
So I think eliminating 38C,
What I would like to do is say classify for 37D, I would like to say classify producers and consumers in food chains and food webs, period. And that's one standard.
so then we would get rid of 38, B and C.
Yes.
And 37, well, we can change 37D.
Right.
Okay.
But I don't want to lose the back half. I think we may want to put that as a separate preliminary standard.
Right.
What are you thinking?
Because we could actually add the back half to 38E, because if you're looking at how they compete with each other in the ecosystem, you can also then go on to predict possible effects of removing them from the food chain. To me, it seems like a good combination. Like it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so we know what we want to do. On 37B, we want to say, classify producers and consumers, keep all the parentheses, get rid of are related, and say found in food chains and food webs, period. And then don't get rid of the rest of it, because we're going to move it somewhere else. And then after producers, I want to put in parentheses autotrophs.
Okay, run that by me again. Where do you want autotrophs?
After producers in parentheses
Okay, which one am I working on?
of the new one.
That one.
Fourth grade D. So autotrophs goes in there with herbivores.
No, after producers.
Got it, thank you. That makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Okay, producers, autotrophs, and consumers, herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and decomposers are found in food chains and food webs.
I like that.
Period.
Got it.
And that's going to replace 5, B, and C.
Yes, I like
Both
it.
of them.
Yep.
The only thing we're missing is that idea of the role that they play in the ecosystem.
That's what I think we need a second one for that.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Then the back half may compete with each other for resources in an ecosystem. We could say, explain how organisms compete with each other for resources in an ecosystem, which would prep us for that model of if I remove one, this is what's going to happen. So on 37F, oh, you already did it. Will you move that to 38C? Okay. So then the question is, we could, okay, hang on. We can get rid of 5G, 38G, because we already have all that verbiage in the other one. But
And I, almost age too, I think, right?
we don't have predator and
Hold
prey.
on, hold on. We dropped detrivore. We need to add
What?
that. We need to add detrivore to fifth grade B.
It sounds like it's the same as decomposer.
It's a
The way it's
decomposer.
written.
Detrivore.
So like so I guess, because we talked about this a couple meetings ago, right? That we wanted to have the hardcore words like autotroph in there as
Yes.
well. So
Yes.
detrivore would go along with decomposer, autotroph goes with producer, and then autotroph, isn't there some other one? Autotroph?
Herbivore, carnivore,
Producer.
omnivore, and detrivore, and decomposer.
And are we?
Heterotroph. No.
No, I looked that up already.
Okay, all
I
right.
looked it up.
Consumer is heterotroph.
That's where I'm at on this page.
You can put heterotroph after consumer.
I'm just, you know,
Well, because heterotroph, it comes, so before herbivore, you can put heterotroph. Because that is a word they're probably gonna see.
Okay, as long as it's,
Heterotroph means you don't make your own food.
yeah. And I think we need to be consistent when we're
Yeah,
using
yeah.
those words, if we're gonna use both sets of
that's what.
Yes.
Yeah.
terminology.
This
So,
life
whoa,
science.
so should I say heterotroph such as?
No,
Yes.
it's-
Yes.
no,
It says producer,
Yes.
autotroph, consumer, heterotroph.
Okay.
Okay.
Some say yes, some
Well,
say
it
no.
says producers, autotroph, right? And
Yeah.
consumers, heterotroph. Decomposers, detriment.
No. Okay, so
Okay,
producers are autotrophs.
Just, yeah.
All consumers are heterotrophs.
Right.
Okay.
And I like the way Eric said it because all of
Okay.
those words would be a heterotroph. An herbivore, a carnivore,
Okay,
an
okay,
omnivore,
okay.
a detrivore, a decomposer, they're all
I think what
heterotrophs.
Bob's saying is that in 38B, where we've listed out carnivore.
There are no more examples of autotrophs. There's no other words to put in those
No, but
parentheses.
we're also missing
Oh.
detrivore.
Yeah, it's in there.
Oh, we did,
In
okay,
B.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it now, sorry.
Like where there's examples of heterotrophs, there's no examples of autotrophs.
Yeah, is a detrivore the same as a decomposer?
Yeah.
They eat plants.
That's
too.
why
They
it's
don't-
slash decompose.
I think
Okay.
detrivores are plant
So people understand.
decomposers.
Trying to introduce them
and-
to
I just want to say, that's
Yeah.
right, I just want to make sure it's not, okay, it's not redundant. That's why I said it's
I
not.
don't do decomposers.
So should we say, explain how organisms compete with each other for resources in an ecosystem and put in parentheses, example, predator-prey?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that work for that? And that would get our predator-prey terminology
Oh, yeah,
in
Darryl,
there?
sorry.
I'm on 38C.
Because H says categorize the organisms as predator or prey and explain the relationship in the given ecosystem.
And that's
So
your,
that,
that's your testable.
yeah,
Yeah, but I think we're
Well, I
wanting
think-
a model as our testable for this one.
Yeah, categorize is definitely a little.
yeah.
Right.
I-
So-
I don't think predator prey goes along with fifth grade C right now. It doesn't feel like it goes along with it. I mean, what are, like, we're competing for, what am I competing for?
So,
with the-
yeah, when I first read that, what I assumed that meant is the grass is competing with the tree for sunlight.
Okay, there's a good example. Different
Cows are
organisms,
competing with horses for pasture.
Yeah. That's what I-
Okay,
limited amount of water that they all have to drink.
so then let's un-yellow categorize and leave it.
Yeah, so it's definitely not.
Let's
Definitely
not
yellow.
yellow it,
Yeah, right,
and let's
right.
put it in as a background.
Yellow.
Did you make it yellow berry?
A yellow.
You moved the screen. Now,
Craziest thing ever.
I kind of like. Okay, let's read this.
We un-yellowed something. See here.
Oh, yeah, she was going to get, she's typing.
We un-yellowed fifth grade.
We removed the,
See, I'm not, maybe my notes should be that.
So this,
I'm just saying, we moved it and see Eric's notes.
Okay.
so this
Gotcha.
says.
Like
Oh,
this
so an example for C would be exotic species.
Was that food?
Cusco.
That's better.
that's the.
What is it?
That's it.
Kudzu.
That's it.
Kudzu.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's one of those.
The kazoos have taken over.
Well, wait a second, now, you just said, kudzu or kudzu or whatever. That, I mean, maybe that goes along with that one of predict what happens if you remove, why don't we say remove or add an organism
like that.
to the food chain, right?
That's
Add one that
good.
didn't
Remove
normally.
or add.
They actually,
And that way the student could look at
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
other,
it.
they could look at a variety of ecosystems and
Right.
determine.
Really,
what-
one of the biggest things happening was there now are the
Yeah.
additional, it's the
They
exotics
have,
that's been
Yes.
introduced.
See,
We're not losing a whole lot anymore, I mean, we are, of course, but we're not losing as much through
They have wording in here
extension,
somewhere about this.
because we are adding things, and that's
It's
causing.
interesting.
Populations, we didn't used to have them, I see them on the road all the time.
Yep.
Dead.
They're all
Well,
the way
or
up.
even when there's an overpopulation of deer and they eke into the urban areas, what
Yeah,
happens
right.
there? That's a problem, because you're adding the deer to
Something that
the urban
wasn't there before,
ecosystem,
right.
and that's not
Right,
good.
right, so that's,
Give them out of my woods, it's okay.
yeah.
Get another one.
Or bean fields.
Well, then you have to say removing from or adding to.
Okay, so do you think we need G, 38G?
I know, right?
Identify and explain the way the specific organism may interact with another organism or with the environment.
That's
AG.
interdependent organisms, so maybe.
Pollination, shelter, seed,
even
dispersal,
parasites
camouflage,
and-
migration, hibernation, defensive mechanisms.
I mean, do we already, between what we're just doing here and have done elsewhere, are we already covering that? Is that-
We
Well-
talked about this before.
If you look up at 2, at second grade.
Second grade, we touch on,
I remember talking about
Some
it.
of the.
Remember this conversation?
An
Some of these
example of an
things.
interdependent relationship is when plants depend on animals for pollination or to move their seeds around.
Yeah.
And then the
okay.
other part of G goes in with the effects of removing or adding an organism to the food chain. So I think I think that that's redundant, G is redundant on 2 other points.
There's a bee right there.
And I'm wondering about that this is hit in natural selection or inheritance of traits. Did we hit it in that?
yeah, we talked about migration and hibernation there. But we didn't address the fact that that affects the food chain or the ecosystem. I mean, it is a little different concept, like when
Yes.
birds migrate,
Yes.
they may change.
Invasive species, et cetera, do impact the food chain.
That's not saying that in this standard.
This is saying like
It's interaction of organisms.
interaction of organisms, and like I was just saying specifically like migration or
I don't think we need
hibernation,
it. We
that
have second
affects
grade.
the food web. Even though it's a normal pattern,
I do too.
it affects in a particular ecosystem. You know, if you've got animals.
Because
that
it's
are-
saying a specific
Oh,
organism,
never agree with that, Scott.
I don't know that it rises to the level that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
tell.
before we kill it, look back at B, because I just read B again, and I'm like, now there's nothing there. There's no verb, right? It doesn't say anything about it. What are they supposed to?
Categorize is the verb.
What is?
Categorize.
But it's
Oh, I
not
don't
there.
see it. Okay, it's not up there, okay. Category, you're right, okay.
But yeah,
So-
what we're looking at is not,
I think G is redundant on several points.
and it kicked off.
Very human
Okay, something.
He's starting to get a little bit irritated.
Yeah,
I'm
uh-oh.
dependent.
Oh, now it's lost.
Scary.
Oh.
You can call it
They found a new problem
I
there.
found a new problem, that's right, yeah.
Are you just looking at your review?
Well, I'm gonna have to leave soon.
I have to leave now. I have a function tonight.
I have patients coming in.
It doesn't sound like you're looking forward to it.
I would like to finish this.
At the end of the year, there, and then it's like first grade.
All right, well, here's the thing,
You go.
I have it in good faith that you'll get that one.
Okay.
Okay. It's been real, guys. I'll see you
Thank you.
in
July.
July.
July. Wow, that's some time from now.
It is.
Happy vacations and summer breaks and.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, yay! Happy Mother's Day to all. That's all of us females.
Oh, happy Mother's Day. It's Father's Day, Women's Day.
Hey, Bob. Thank you for your diligence to this cause.
See you in a couple of months.
I'll see you.
See ya.
Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Okay, so
Kelly, seriously, bring that margarita slush thing.
I'm thinking that,
There's after hours.
I can't, don't
Okay,
say
Mary, if you do anything important, you have to make your own notes, but I'll email you these notes.
I think we're done.
You're fine, it's just trash. We're just trying to get this thing shut down so I can get back up.
okay, so for 38F, let's add food chain or food web.
I already put in there that we edited food chain, food web discussions in 5th grade, Sierra.
Okay.
Can you just send those notes to, who, I guess send them to Eric and to, send them to Jan? She can then put them with, she can combine them with the notes she already had, and then then I'll just,
Okay, so here's my dilemma.
you send them to me, I can send them to Jan.
It's not much, okay. Discussion
But we just have to
regarding.
have it, and she'll put it all in one course.
Your failures as secretaries duly noted.
I admit, really, but
I don't know what the failure she was, but
I don't think Beverly fails that much.
Oh, that's well, I had a secretary for 16 years, and then I sold my practice, and, started a family and all that, and now I still do things on the side, and I have no secretary, yeah, my life is a wreck.
So, yeah, I'm telling you, the difference, competent secretarial help, that's
Jeez.
like
Oh.
huge.
Oh, we know it just from being in the school.
Oh,
Secretary is the heart of the.
Yeah, and then
our
imagine if you
secretary
had one for
does
16 years and then decided, oh, I'm going to do this on my own now.
False.
Right.
Of course, I'm not filing Medicare.
Okay, so here's the dilemma. So we have, I feel pretty good about, I don't know that we need to, do you think we still need to keep sequence? The flow of energy through a food chain or a food web beginning with the sun? Because we just, remember that whole discussion we just previously had that we said, oh, there's the flow of energy, the flow of matter. We're not going to assess the kids on the flow of energy in elementary. We're just going to talk about the flow of matter in our assessment, but the kids still need to know about food chain, food webs, flow of energy. And that specifically assesses it. So are you okay if we chunk it?
Well, I thought the assessment was the model, and the model is.
Okay,
not
here's the
model.
problem. We're dealing with two different ones of these strands. So right now, we are working on LS2A, which is interdependent relationships and ecosystems. The one we're talking about for the matter, that we're talking about do a model and trace the matter, is LS2B. So we need to be fine with what we have in LS2A, move down to LS2B, define what we want our standards to be in LS2B, and then put the assessment down
It's
there.
all going to be on the same row though, right?
No, it's not. It jumps down to LS2B.
But it's all in 5th grade.
It's all going to be in 5th grade.
And it's all going to be in one,
Right.
in the end, it's all going to be in one unit or whatever.
No, see LS2B?
No, it's
Oh,
A and B.
okay.
As long as we have in there beginning
It
of
will
the sun.
eventually all be on the same row.
Okay.
So are we good with chunking E? Okay. So we want to get rid of 3080.
So where are we, just check, where are we testing it later? I mean, we're going to add it someplace later?
We're not going to test the flow of energy, we're going to test the flow of matter.
Because, again,
Oh, energy and matter, you declared energy and matter are separate entities, right?
Yes.
my
And
guys
what
will
we're
have.
doing is we're going to develop flow of energy.
James.
And we're going to talk about predicting the possible effects of if you remove
Right.
organisms from a food chain or a food web.
Right.
That's our assessment for that chunk. Then we're going to just talk about the flow of matter. So tell me what you're thinking.
I'm just trying to put in my head that there's a difference in matter and energy, and the flow of energy is what this was, I think, originally designed to teach, was the flow of energy of those foods that receiving energy from one another, starting with the sun.
And we are teaching that. We're just not making it an assessed standard.
Okay, where are we teaching it? That's what I was asking.
Didn't you say it's gonna go down, there's, LS2B, it's gonna go down?
You're right. We are not explicitly saying energy in there.
And that's what I'm
We're
curious. I'm
talking
thinking
about
we
food
probably
chains
need
and
to.
food webs and how they're organized.
Because the next one it's a transfer of energy. That's LS2B is the cycle transfer of energy. Not transfer of matter, it's transfer of energy.
What?
LS2B is cycles of matter,
Matter energy.
matter and energy.
Right, and here's what they say for their DCIs for LS2B. Matter cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and microbes as these organisms live and die. Organisms obtain gases and water from the environment and release waste matter back into the environment.
And I think it's important that where we start is the country of the sun. So that it has a full.
So we
can
got,
we move that one down to?
here's the deal, we got rid of sun because,
We just this second got rid of sun. Because it was there.
oh, we didn't put those in there. The
Well,
37C needs to be moved down to, 37C needs to be moved down to 38. Probably the front of that row. And then we already took care, the decomposing part is, that decomposing one. We hadn't decided what we were doing with that yet.
You know what, Eric, you never added the word categorize, the C, 38C. You said that was the first word, I mean, categorize producers and consumers.
Categorize organisms as.
Classify was the
Classify,
first
whatever.
word.
Classify. Classify organisms as producers. It says producers and others first.
Okay, so what else do we need, Perry?
Honestly, I just think we need to start with the beginning, and that's what we had. So I have a problem moving it down to where it fills in this gap, but I think we have to have in there.
How about this?
We're starting with the sun and working through the entire system.
How about, look.
We have to have that sun as, because that is where all life comes from, and we have, everything we have comes
Right,
from
do
the
you
sun.
think that 38B addresses that?
No, let's do this. On
It
38B.
doesn't?
Plants are the primary source of matter and energy. It doesn't say anything about the sun at
How
all.
about
Oh,
this?
okay.
How about
Because
this?
the sun's not even mentioned.
Right.
How about this?
No, it doesn't do it.
38B, say plants are the primary source of matter entering most food chains and food webs, and the sun is the source of most energy entering the food webs. Because it's not true for all food webs, but it's most food webs.
What's that?
That energy comes,
All energy comes from the sun.
No, it doesn't.
Sure.
There's chemosynthesis that happens on the ocean floor, and it comes from the chemicals
But
that are down
if
there.
the sun didn't give us the warmth,
No,
you're
the
talking about the
chemicals
heat
would still be
that come
there.
from the
No,
sun.
it's chemical
internal.
compounds.
He's coming up.
It's common
from here.
chemical compounds.
So that's what I'm saying. We could say it that way, and then we could say that most of
You can
the
say
matter comes from
99%.
plants.
Exactly, I would agree with that.
Most of the matter comes from plants. Most of the energy comes from the sun.
Okay, fifth grade.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
But I don't want to say 100%.
Well, I didn't really say 100%. You're the one that said
Yeah.
there is a microbe at the bottom of the ocean. I didn't
Yeah.
put the microbe at the bottom of the ocean. But
So, okay, good.
Right.
and I would almost be willing to bet money that the sun went out that the ocean would freeze anyway.
Yeah. There are little autotrophs in rock that don't eat anything from the sun.
Okay, so does that take care of the concern?
I think that does put
Yeah,
it in there.
and then the
But
next box.
I'm also not sure that doesn't need to be something that we're assessing. I think originally it being assessed, we talked about that one a long time ago, about that needing to be one of the things that we are assessing, especially at the early elementary levels, because that's one of the things that,
And isn't that on the?
understanding and knowing, and I know that's on the, I
state
haven't
test?
seen the new state test. so I don't know.
Aunt Harry, I honestly believe that that is in the earth science, because I know.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, because it deals with the sun as the source of energy for the earth. It does, it is in there, but if we want to highlight it and put a question mark on it, we can do that
Yeah.
for right now until we can make sure that it's assessed somewhere else.
Yeah, I would think that it definitely needs to be one of those things where assessment is one of the.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those fundamental things.
So can you highlight it and put a question mark on it?
On
38B? Because if it's not assessed somewhere else, it needs to be assessed.
You just put a quotation at the top, say, check, make sure it's assessed. And then you can the other one so that it stands out to us.
So we're good on that, you think?
I just think it's one of those.
It's huge important.
You can't, I mean, I don't know how you can not have that as accessible.
Well, and before we were having them sequence the food chain, food web, so we could catch it that way, but we're not this time, so we need to make sure we're catching it somewhere. Okay, so then if we move down to LS2B, which is cycles of matter and energy, again, what is that 4th grade right now? Is that 5th grade in this format that we're looking at? So here is what the DCI says. Matter cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and microbes as these organisms live and die. Organisms obtain gases and water from the environment and release waste matter, gas, liquid, or solid, back into the environment.
Would that encompass the 37E from the previous point? Because that looks like that's part of what that's saying.
I would agree that that probably needs to be moved down and combined
Into
with.
the next
Right.
LS2.
Right.
Well, he was just typing up there just as a placeholder.
I know, but it was also, we had originally thought it would go in that line with the rest of the 5th grade stuff. But I think it can be moved down to the next.
So we need 37E moved down to LS2C 5th grade.
where?
The first box is fine. LS2B, I'm so sorry. Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, he's down,
To 5th grade?
Yeah,
So there's nothing in 5th grade?
right.
Got it. Okay, sure.
And the 4th grade one is gonna need to go to 5th grade too.
In the next section down there.
Yeah, the LS2B 4th grade one.
There is no LS2.
It's near the bottom of the table.
Oh, wait a minute. LS.
line 41. 41.
Yeah, you've gotta undo what you just did.
Yep, I just
Okay.
did it.
So 44, 45.
Okay, there we go. So, decomposers goes to LS2B,
Yep,
5th grade.
yep.
45B.
And then the LS2B, 4th grade goes down to 5th grade.
Yes.
All right, I see indeed.
Now, to me, we can switch those two together.
Well, we kind of got your.
The rest of us aren't seeing it because it's not on the projector right now.
Okay.
Thanks, Eric.
Your lack of vision is not my problem.
I see right fine. You know what he's talking about. It's right there.
Okay,
Okay, so you're saying B and C, you want to smush them together?
somehow,
Can you just put a verb on B?
Probably.
That'd probably be the easiest thing to do. 'cause you got a lot.
Identify decomposers that recycle matter from dead plants and animals. So
I think you just
identify
put the word, I think you just put the word
decomposers.
identify,
Mhm.
and then the rest of it's put identify decomposers, including part of. I think if you just put the word identify,
If that makes
It does.
sense grammatically, I'm good with that.
it does. That's what
Okay.
that's correct.
Identify that.
No, just identify decomposers. Because it's literally just identify decomposers.
Oh.
Recycle matter from dead plants and animals.
Okay, then,
Doesn't sound right to me.
It is identify
Something's wrong
that.
with that.
It's
Oh,
identify
identify
that.
that, okay, identify that.
It already fixed what's
okay, so matter cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and microbes as these organisms live and die.
Read that again.
Matter cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and microbes as these organisms live and die.
The only thing that's not there is
So we need to add that to 45 B.
there is no
Okay.
We're going to type this. Matter cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and microbes as these organisms live and
I
die.
think that's C.
That's D.
I know,
So then I'm thinking we start out with trace matter as it cycles between the air and soil and among plants, animals, and microbes as these organisms live and die. So you know how we had trace the energy?
right.
We're going to say trace the matter as it cycles. So we were re-editing D, and we're going to start with trace matter as it cycles, and then just leave it the way it is. Okay, then the second one is organisms obtain gases and water from the environment and release waste matter, gas, liquid, or solid, back into the environment.
Wouldn't that be C?
That's going to be E. So we're going to type
But
explain.
isn't that included in C? Doesn't C include that already? With decaying, rotting, composting, digestion?
The C is only about decomposition.
Okay.
But this is living and, this is the living and the dead.
Okay.
So, explain how organisms, don't say explain how, explain that.
No, wait a minute, because this one says,
Yeah, B
it says it lives and dies.
B has dead plants and animals in it already.
Where?
B is dead animals.
Says matter from dead plants and animals.
That is true. Now, this is giving a little bit more information, the second sentence part. It says organisms obtain gases and water from the environment and release waste matter back into the environment. Do we need to have them teach that?
I think it's important to understand waste.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, there's all kinds of issues with animal waste and.
Okay,
I mean.
so we're going to type this in E.
Everything.
You ready, Eric? Explain that organisms obtain gases and water from the environment and release waste matter, parentheses, gas, liquid, or solid, in parentheses, back into the environment. Yeah. You can put after gases a comma, and then after water a comma, and after environment a comma.
Why would you come after gases? Explain the organisms obtain gases and water.
Gases, comma.
It's not three, it's not a series.
All I'm telling you is what they have commas on in here.
Well, they could be wrong.
She'll leave it? Okay.
Explain the organisms obtain gases and water from the environment, comma, and release waste.
Okay. So then this is where we get to our yellow one, which is F. So the yellow one's was develop a model to describe the movement of matter among plants, animals, decomposers, and the environment.
And where are we pulling it from?
Huh?
NGSS?
Yep, it's 5-LS2-1.
Would a microbe be considered a decomposer?
Yes.
Okay, look at 45D. I'm thinking if we're gonna develop a model, then maybe we don't need D at all.
Oh, I think D is the only one we need. Because I've been reading them over and over again, and I think that might be the only thing we need. Everything else,
That's what I'm wondering too, is if we need the others.
yeah. I mean, it's so comprehensive, and the others are very redundant.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you though, they need to be able to trace it before they can build a model.
Yeah.
So I think that's important.
Keep D, that's right.
Gotcha.
And I think Perry's right with this whole explain the organisms and the waste and that what's being given off and what's being kept. I think that's important. The first two, I don't know if we need that much specificity in it. Those are the two I'm
Those are
questioning.
things that can be addressed in the
That,
storyline.
or,
on
yeah,
teaching.
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, because it's
Teaching
more like
tips.
information.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Okay, I'm
wondering.
not understanding E. Explain the organisms containing gases and water from the environment and release waste matter back in the environment.
So it's the connection between living and the non-living parts of the environment. Right? There's an interaction between.
So as we count it.
So organisms don't obtain matter.
Gases and water are matter.
Which things that
And something
affect
uses
fish.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like plants. Explain the organisms containing gases and water from the environment. Why are we only talking about gases and water while I'm talking about, food, nutrients?
Well, the
The
environment.
waste, we don't collect,
See that the
Oh,
environment.
from the environment.
The
Got it.
Right.
Right.
They release waste matter back into food.
well, food would be,
We don't get plants from
See,
the environment?
sounds like they're sort of separating environment. Environment sounds like it sort of means not the living parts, right? That's the way it's written.
Yeah, that's a part of the stripping members.
Right.
That's what's not clear.
We're kind of
Oh,
segregating,
yeah.
right, living from non-living.
But that's all I'm saying though.
but in
Now,
order
but
to
look
get
at D right now. See, D says trace matter cycles between air and soil, and among
plants.
air and soil is environment, right?
Right.
they're the abiotics.
Well, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's, right.
So should we add, explain that organisms obtain gases, food, and water
Yes. I think that
from the
clarifies.
environment?
That
I think
would,
that clarifies.
that was my original
You want to
question.
use the word food.
What word do I want to use?
I don't know.
Energy.
Energy would probably be the more
They don't
technically correct
understand
word.
that though.
I think most of them would, because most of them say, and again, this is very egocentric on this. I just think that's how we describe food, is its energy. You're receiving energy from this. Each of you are receiving the energy from
What
that.
if,
But in this,
Yeah.
we're not tracing energy, we're tracing carbon and oxygen. So
What
if you
if
say
we-
energy, they're not gonna, if I say plants, I'm getting carbon
what
from
if
the
we put energy
plants.
in parentheses? So that the teacher understands maybe to make a connection for the students.
I just think the term energy is in the title of this particular.
That's why it's not there, because it's,
Yeah.
well, okay, go ahead and add it.
I don't think I think it's the easiest way to add it where people will, I think 90% of people will understand it like that, and then the other 10%.
I have to say that when I was first reading through that and deciding whether to add food, my mind went to energy.
Then let's say energy. Are you good with
If my
that?
mind can go to energy, most people's can.
Bob, are you good with that?
Where
Speak now or speak again later.
Where is it going?
After gases,
Where?
energy,
Which-
and water,
which cell?
in E.
E.
Explain the organism between energy, gases, and water from the environment.
Which would make my analogy of the cow eating grass more correct.
And it makes it true for anything even things that are living in rocks or the bottom of the ocean.
All consumption.
Okay, Okay, well, if they're releasing waste matter, they're gonna release waste energy.
Ooh, that sounds disgusting.
What energy do humans release?
We radiate warmth and it's useless.
Everything
That's not what we want though.
we don't want to do.
So if that's what we get
And it's
from
not
that
useless
word,
if you
we
sleep
need
on
to
the
not
camp
use that
out
word.
Yeah.
and you're really cold.
Which takes us back to food.
Well, saying that we release the waste matter doesn't, I mean, maybe there's an implication there of exclusivity on the matter, but I don't know that it eliminates potential discussion of energy at a later date.
So what's tripping me up and what I suspect will trip up, the thoughtful fifth grader is, we're talking about releasing solid waste back into the environment.
Or gas or liquid.
No, I get that,
Okay.
But they see that gas waste, oh, there was gas that went in. Liquid waste, oh, there was liquid that went in. Where did the solid waste come from? Is what was tripping me up.
Oh, I see.
And energy won't address solid.
And energy doesn't address that.
Right, that's right.
So maybe we really.
Which is why my original question was, should plants be in there? But maybe food makes more sense, I don't know, but there's just something, where does the bulk of our solid waste
Well,
come from?
there it is indeed, right? Trace matter as it cycles between air and soil among plants, animals, and microbes.
But I get that, but you can't use matter here because you've already got gases and water, which are other forms of matter. So you
Well,
can't
it's
say
a lot of
matter,
release.
gases, and water.
Waste matters what it actually says is release.
Okay,
waste
what if
matter.
we said, explain that organisms obtain solids, gases, and water from the environment and release waste matter,
It's
gas,
solids,
liquid, or
gas.
solid, back into the environment. And then solid would help us
I
match.
think that's solid.
I think that's good, Ann.
Okay.
Okay.
Aren't you talking about food if you're talking about solid?
Yeah.
Which is back to my original question.
Solid gases.
I don't know why we aren't.
We're trying to simplify it.
Well, how about
If you
obtain
go through and you
materials,
gotta figure out-
obtain matter, and then
Produce
produce
it,
solid,
don't-
liquid, and gas?
Well, technically
So
we do.
make it
They
how do
have
I know?
sugars, which are their food.
They produce a sugar.
They produce
that
sugars,
that
which is
eat.
their food.
But again, they
And
produce
it's our,
it.
But I
it's our
think
food
it's
too.
solid.
But it's not, but it's still solid.
Without getting into.
And they're still using it.
Asking about.
And so
I don't think we're creating a big misconception of what we've got. I think everything we've got on here is.
Okay.
No, I fixed it, we'll move along. Good, I'm taking what I've heard and.
Just a grammatical comment.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
The tail's about.
Okay. that's-
You know what? We're done.
Woo-hoo! We're done with life science altogether?
Yep.
That's how you're raising it.
Yep. We are done with life science.
Okay, now on the 20th, when we come that Monday, what time are we doing since we said they're gonna come Sunday night?
We'll try 8.
Wait a minute, we're done for the day?
No, I hope not.
Yes.
Really?
It was 8 to noon today.
What?
We're not here all day?
Nope.
Oh.
Well, we're not.
I thought you wanted to do engineering and physics and
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that when you're not here.
Yeah, I know.
You will be here on the 20th.
Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna be.
Okay.
You will be here on the 20th.
Wow. Oh, I was just getting rolling there.
I know, that's like, hey.
We rolled at 5 o'clock yesterday.
You can track. All right, somebody kill that camera.
That was the original. I'm going to.
Someone what?
I gotta
So,
look at the paper sign.
okay, so when we come
Where's it
back,
at, Eric? On
Wait,
the top?
I gotta put a sign up first.
No, no, no,
Hold on,
hold on.
I gotta
I'll
put
just-
the, we're shutting it on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, did you not?
Nope.
nope,
Here's
Shut it off and left.
it just
Sure has
flat.
to
So next time when we come back, we said that we wanted to start with 5th grade and do earth science and physics, the earth science and
all she wrote.
physical